Hello and welcome to the Element Solos Cash Cup Qualifier number 2. I'm back on the desk today. My name's OSK. With me, I have my warrior over here on the casting desk with his Google Glass, Karashi. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing well. I just got the prototypes in. I can see the broadcast, the full chat right in front of my eyes. I'm all ready to go for today. But no, jokes aside, we do have a pretty crazy solo qualifier. Lots of big names. What are you thinking? What's going down today, OSK?
Well, I can tell you right now, let's go over the rules of the tournament. For qualifier number 2, we're going to be doing the best 4 out of 6 games. We'll have our first half 3 games, second half 3, a little 15, 10-minute break right in the middle. So to go over some of the names that we have today, some big names I want to point out. We got No Ace in here. Always a joy to have him in scrims, usually on the winning side of things. We also have notably Gigabyte. We have Joshua, Juan Cheeto, and a few fill-ins, one of which is actually Kamsky, one of the better solo players that we normally see out here, along with next on the EU side of things. So it's going to be a very, very spicy meatball today. I'm expecting some fireworks today, Crashy.
Yeah, fireworks indeed. We have a lot of people that I know, like in the community for sure. I feel like I say this a lot, but there's a lot of people in the community that I know that end up signing up for tournaments. And I really I know them as players. I see them in the matches or I see their streams, and I really don't know where their skill level really falls. So it's always exciting for me specifically to just like pull in more information about these players. Like, what are they actually going to play when it comes tournament time? How do they actually perform? And, just some of the names that I want to throw out there are like Flying Pie, Elder Gold, Merlin, Lil Hustle, Pineapples, Rycoda. I mean, a lot of these people are people wonderful who we saw yesterday. A lot of these people are people I know in the community. I know they play trios and things like that or stream. And I'm really excited to see how they, translate all that they do in the game into a like solo competitive environment. But yeah, it's going to be definitely a good time to see it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And notably, we saw yesterday, Wonderful in the squads bring out that new 111 build. So I heard all about that whenever after I
Yeah.
watched the VOD. So that's another topic I want to get into today is that we're seeing all this diversity of builds despite what would be considered a meta coming in. There tends to be a lot of strategies going in, especially on the trio side of things, which is something I'm more experienced with. But on the solo side, I hear a lot about the runic fluency toxicologists. I hear a lot about glass cannon tempest. I hear about movement tempest as well. We're seeing frostborn come out, and of course focus mana pyromancer, always a menace. And conduit, all the classes have their sort of meta builds, but on the trio side of things, I'm seeing quite a bit of diversity, and I want to see if that's going to translate into the solo side of things.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that like even and this is something to think about too. I think even something like having certain classes or builds that are actually stronger in solos and stronger or weaker in trios or vice versa, however you want to look at it. I think there's definitely more room for like individual play styles to come out as opposed to needing to kind of like fine tune your build a little bit around your team. Like for example, yesterday we saw Kamsky running Toxicologist, which I think is normal, and I'm not sure. It's really hard to say if he pulls it out today. Will he be using the same build? He was running Focus, Mana, Fervor, Thirsty, but that build could be an alteration of the build just to get Thirsty onto the team because he was actually the only member in that one game that I saw him in where he was running Thirsty for the team. We had Elpadog running Stone Shaper on Escapist for his spirit talent, and T-Fall running Conduit with Recovery for his third talent. So it'll definitely be interesting to see if that changes up a little bit, how many people change their builds and are working it in a certain way just for solo specifically. And then, of course, just to see how people perform on either server, if they change up their classes, things like that. This is standard competitive solo stuff that we're always looking at. But in any case, yeah, there's some really big name players in this one, like Gigabyte, Kamsky, like those are going to be some really big top contenders. No Ace, the Dark Breakers, obviously. I gotta say, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out there, especially for Breakers if he's watching right now, if like they're maybe pre-gaming it, or if he ever goes back and watches the VOD. I think personally, for me, just in game normally, probably the most frustrating player to play against. He's just so all over the place. I was talking about it before we went live. He's got to be the most annoying player to play against, but it's because of the level of skill that he brings to the table and how unique he plays specifically. So really looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, and that's the word I want to really see show itself today is the uniqueness because Breakers, we were talking before this production started, he's been running that same build since beta and he pioneered this thing. He's been pioneering the wind shears on his Stone Shaper build as well as the flight, something we don't see a whole lot of people taking. We only really see it on a few Stone Shapers and notably sometimes on a conduit. So He's been really, trying his hand out here. He plays what works for him, and it doesn't work for everyone else. So there's a very unique style of play. And another thing I want to bring up is we were talking about how some builds weren't really working out with solos the same way they would work with trios. And I think that's going to really call into question how much agency you value whenever you come out here in the solo side of things, because you can play stuff where you might get saved by the rotation of your team. Maybe you don't want to run as much movement because someone like your backline can rotate out and be that shield for you while you back up and get your thirsty talent going. Or maybe you want to run runic fluency today where you can dip out of certain engagements. You have that extra option, so you don't have to worry about as many third parties. Maybe you run something like maybe you still run thirsty because it is quite good, or maybe you run something like recovery that gives that immediate benefit. It's these adjustments that I'm really looking forward to seeing. Some talents, of course, you're going to see at all times. You're going to see fervor all the time. You might see focus mana quite a bit, but I want to see some more of this escapist and some more of this runic fluency, this more movement meta that we have going on. I'm thinking we're going to see quite a bit of that. Notably, I would say from people like Kamski, people like Gigabyte likes to run that runic fluency here and there. No Ace though, man, he's a whole nother animal. I can see him running focus mana at all times, man. He loves that damage.
Yeah, I mean, even I was going to say, even something like scavenging, obviously, right? Like you're not
Yeah.
going to see a ton of scavenging come out in the trio meta because it just doesn't have that clean application. Don't get me wrong, you can still use it, but it's a little wonky with like who gets the exile. Then it's just like this delayed value off of a talent that in solos could be the difference between winning or losing your follow up fight after a third party appears or after you finish your fight, or just a good way to budget yourself and keep your potion economy high. So it'll be interesting to see what all builds come out. I love talking about it. It's got to be, I think personally, if I'm being honest, when it comes to like the subjectivity of like playing a class and a build, like the whole talent system, the way that it's built out is probably my favorite thing in all of Spellbreak. I think it's what lends us so much to think about and to discover with the game. And then you toss that on top of classes and offhands and all that fun stuff. So hey, proletariat, like don't be afraid, toss me some talents, man. I'm looking to the future because I loved the addition of the last 3 talents we got. It was so fun. And yeah, I definitely can't wait for another one of those moments, especially if it's teased. You know how we were all doing well, Ambi might go here and it's going to be doing it. Like, dude, all of that was such a fun little period of time. So I'm definitely looking forward to more of that in the future. But yeah, I'm just looking over the player list again. I know we're going to be getting into game very soon, but I was going to say, I know we at least have a couple of Runic Tox players. That's definitely one of my favorite topics to talk about. But the thing about it is, if I'm being honest, and this is one of those points that I love to make, is that when you watch these players play that build specifically, there's no lack of mechanical skill coming out from them. Like someone I'm going to name right now, Cozy, insane player. Like he's just someone that's so fluid with what he does, and I love to watch him play. And as we get in, we're going to be jumping on board with Milk. It's that early game. We already have Delicious Wet Fish grabbing that first exile onto Armin, so Armin going to be going down, unfortunately, very early. But that's just one of the 6 games that we have, so we cycle around the map and just try to see if there's any of that early game action going on.
Yeah, and we were calling out names earlier, and this is something I don't want to that I can't stress enough is that even if the name wasn't called out, pretty much I recognize half the names on this list. Like it is an absolutely stacked qualifier, and the fact that Armin specifically is out that early just goes to show like how hungry these guys are, and also just how skilled the lobby is in general. But that is going to be Birdsey going down to No Ace, his first pickup of the day, first exile. Again, he's running, what is this build here? Harmony, Fervor, no spirit talent, something I haven't seen at all, really. Maybe he's just trying to avoid that flash freeze lockup, the any sort of frozen status that might be coming out. Also might be looking out for Gigabyte here in the lobby as he loves to run that conduit build. So maybe he's just looking for a bit more agency for himself, like we were talking about earlier. But it's going to be interesting to see how he adapts around not having that extra damage that we know he loves to run all the time. Less power on the snipes, less power on the fire. So we'll see how he adapts, but that fervor is still in the pocket here. Notably, we have one of our favorite EU content creators out here, Merlin. This is a full name, Merlin the Wizard. So we'll see how he does here today. Going to be a big name to watch out for. Spent all that money on that Warlock skin. We'll see if it pays off for him.
Yeah, and as I'm looking at the kill feed, I mean, we do have lots of players going down. Definitely make sure to keep your eyes peeled there, as we're just calling the action. But another thing to note again, and I want to touch on it as well, Merlin rocking that same build, Harmony
Same
Fervor.
one.
And, there's something special about this build because I think it's undeniable to say that these are two of the strongest talents in the meta currently. If you really want to get away and keep yourself safe from that flash freeze, we do have an engagement going on here. Merlin going to be using a little bit of that wind spam, has that fire tornado, something that got buffed in that last patch, and is going to be bringing a lot of utility, a lot of damage in terms of just tagging someone with ignite. You can kind of see he doesn't want to force too much here. He's keeping his distance, but now he decides to go ahead and go in with that legendary spring step that he does have in hand. But this is an interesting way of bringing two of the best talents and putting them together. And really, if you think about it, I mean, it's not a bad way of doing it. You get the strength of Harmony, which usually you don't get to pull out a different damage modifier with it, but you pair those two together, and I think that you've got a really solid scenario on your hands. Now, unfortunately, when you do open up a chest and you find yourself with a spirit scroll, you kind of take a kick in the butt there because you're not going to be able to slot that in, and you wish it was something else. But this is a build that I've experimented with a little bit on like a talent setup, a little bit with on Tempest, but look at this up on the north side. That's where we know Gigabyte likes to jump into action, and we're going to be seeing that a little bit now, rocking that Focus Mana Fervor with Thirsty. Very strong build. He's going to find that first kill onto Pro Gamer 69. Very, very strong build for that Conduit class. Definitely kind of one of the staples of that class.
Yeah, Pro Gamer not feeling very nice on that, but look at Gigabyte over here. He's got all the knowledge in the world, so he's going to have to make sure not to put that to waste right here. He's getting chased down quite a bit, but he does have his Conduit build, does have enough talents, or rather enough runes, enough tools to really make sure that he's able to dip out of this engagement. And this is nothing surprising on his build today here. He's got already full up into Focus Mana. He's got his Fervor and Thirsty. This is sort of your classic cookie cutter. I'm playing Conduit today, and this is the strongest build I could possibly go on it. So nothing really new there. We'll see if he ends up. Oh, nice shot from No Ace out here, and he's actually 3 exiles up. But to go back on that Conduit build, man, it is so strong in the meta right now, and it is not surprising at all to see him going. But notably, No Ace, even though he doesn't really have all that damage we were talking about earlier, it seems that this is working out pretty well for him. And here we go. The Ignite's already on, the Flash Freeze, but he doesn't care. This is the Harmony build coming out, but the Flash Freeze doing its second part, blocking all his fire. That's 2 shots, not going to connect due to that Flash Freeze. So he is going to have to get a quick reset. Quick little handshake from our two competitors here, but a nice quick little flick of his opponent. And No Ace has to be a little bit careful right here. Has to make sure that he's not going to get caught out by this Toxicologist, I would imagine. Or maybe it's a Frostborn. I think it is a Frostborn, actually, but has to be just a little bit careful on how he chooses to engage this, because that Corrosion is ticking all that shield off very, very quickly. And he is actually, if that Frostborn is rocking Focus Mana, he is in 1-shot range. So he needs to back up. I think he realizes that, and he's going to try to get all his health back up. Here we go. Small potions are going to go ahead and get in. Here's the big shield. No Thirsty to speed it up, but he is outside of the zone. This is relatively a safe place to be. And we'll see how he recovers going in. It's going to have quite the work cut out for him. But if he sneaks in, like I know he can, then he should be fine going into the mid game.
Yeah, and it definitely looks like No Ace is taking that like first game liberty to just be really aggressive. He's not playing very conservative. He's trying to find the fights, trying to close them out so he can get as many points on the board early whenever it feels like he can, take a little bit of that risk. There's an open door to allow him to make some decisions that, may otherwise be, kind of shut down a little bit later into this qualifier. So we do have 3 exiles onto No Ace right now. No scrolls. That's going to be probably the worst thing about the current state of his build. And yeah, it does take a shot there. That another Frost Gauntlet in play. Frost Gauntlet, whether it be on the Frostborn main hand if you're rocking the class, but Frost offhand, just a very strong, very, very strong offhand in the meta right now. As we're going to be jumping onto Shmaloop. Shmaloop going to be running this Runic Tox build, very standard kind of build that you do see. He's going to be using that scavenging again, very strong in solos. He does have the Shadow Step in the pocket as well, as that Runic is going to be, reducing that cooldown, getting him back to that second charge. So if he can wait out that 2 seconds, he'll have 2 charges as opposed to wasting that potential. He does have that now, using some of his potions here, and this player is going to be getting a little bit aggressive. And I'm not sure if this is No Ace, because they're kind of in a similar situation or similar area, but No Ace might be looking to third party now. Joshua getting taken out in the kill feed by Dark Breakers. Delicious Wet Fish finding himself one. Panda finding himself a kill. So lots of action going around the map as we do have 22 players left alive. Lashout gets taken down by Next. So Next going to be running through the map at least with that Toxic Gauntlet as we do find ourselves onto Eldegold here on the northern side of the map. Rocket, again, another Focus Mana Fervor build. Very, very strong. We know that the strength of pairing these two damage modifiers together has that recovery in the pocket as well.
Yeah, and you can see in the kill feed here that Gigabyte taking up Brimer, and where do we last see Gigabyte? In the Dust Pool area, so we might be seeing him right here in front of Eldegold. Now we'll have to see, yep, here comes the lightning. I can almost assume that this is Gigabyte, and Eldegold's gonna have to be very careful here. He has to realize what kind of power a conduit can pack with them. And I think that's what he's going to end up doing right here. He's going to find a little bit of cover here, see where the next zone is going to be. It looks like it might be towards the southwest side of things, so he might actually have a bit of an advantage. It is towards the south, a little bit below Verdant Estate, so they're both going to have to move. What will be the trick here is if Eldegold can maneuver his way towards the northern side of Verdant Estate and cut off Gigabyte, he's going to have a big opportunity to close in that gap and get all that value out of Stone Shaper as opposed to getting beamed down by a conduit. So we'll see how that unfolds later on. But another Stone Shaper we have to talk about here, Darkbreaker's doing a good job of keeping his hands busy. He's going to land a little bit of boulder damage right there along with the tornado, but he's kind of playing a dangerous game out here. He does have recovery, so he is going to get a little bit back from getting damaged by the storm, but he is now out of health potions. So that's going to be a very, very hard ticket to really sell there. He looks like he's trying to rotate out just a little bit, but this opponent with the frost is just not letting him breathe. He is trying to land any kind of damage he can, and this is going to make Darkbreaker's day just a little bit troublesome. So with the zone closing in the way it does, he's going to have a lot of ground to cover. We'll see the speed at which it turns, but if it's rotation number 3, he's going to have to move very, very quickly from this position. Hopefully he'll be able to get out of this safely, but his opponent still keeping the pressure on. You can see has the high ground, has the gap advantage. This is going to be a very difficult task for Darkbreakers.
Yeah, Darkbreaker's nice movement change-ups. You can see that quick sorcery canceling, just throwing in, a boulder, landed a nice sorcery combination there to land that boulder. But, with a build like this, you have to stay really aggressive. And one thing I want to know, because I think this is a really good position to learn from Breakers, was when he was taking the storm and kind of rotating away from his enemy, he's rotating through a path that has potion spawns. So he was able to find that medium health potion that kept him in the storm a little bit longer, but now we're on board with Gay Pineapples, and Gay Pineapples is finding himself kind of in this really bad pinch position. The double lightning strike is going to come down onto Gay Pineapples. He is in full retreat. Unfortunately, that's going to be Cozy, going to find himself like 3 back-to-back Ice Lance kills. So we had him in the kill feed, and then that's going to be his 3 kills in general. Nobody's going to find the elimination, the exile onto Kyrie Caitlyn. So this is cutting down very quickly. We went from 23 down to 13 in like a couple of minutes here. So now we have a couple of toxicologists just spraying at each other. You can see that viscosity on the ground. Cozy is going to be using a bit of this cover to get a reset, but he has those lightning bolts on his back, so he might be looking to completely disengage. You can see that nice vanishing mist that he's going to be using, the spreading sickness, to get himself a little bit of distance, as well as we jump on to Next, who's also going to be running this Runic Tox build, has the dash in the pocket, had a little bit of knowledge at some point. You can see a couple of flash freezes, and this position just definitely seems a little bit cursed. You have so many people playing that high ground. We have Next with 1 exile, but he's not going to be in the best position. He's going to have to try to find his way out of here, but for now, look at that! Finds a nice Ice Lance on a Saphamiya, and that's going to be 1 extra exile added to the list. So you can see Next going ahead and looking to rotate.
Yeah, in the words of Captain Price, check those corners, and Saphamiya unfortunately just can't check the one right behind him. Nowhere is safe out here, especially in this sort of valley area. You're going to have eyes all over the place. You're going to be very lucky to get any kind of reset off. And Next right now, ironically, he's going to have to think about that. He's just going in. You can see the lightning damage just trying to land on him, but it's going to land on his cloud instead. Now, here's something very, very interesting that I want to point out, is that a player, pre-alpha player from very long ago, Ploppakuzi, now known as QQZ, once said that Conduit just kind of puts a timer on the fight, and it really, you're really seeing that come out from players like Gigabyte, and also this one taking advantage of the mountain right here. If you can't close that gap within, I would say, maybe half to 2 seconds time, you're pretty much toast. And we're going to see the kill feed, see if any lightning damage comes out. Players like Next and Cozy know how to close that gap very, very well, so maybe it will go a little bit better for them. But you can see Gigabyte out here. That timer's getting really, really short, and now that actually he's getting closed up on, this might be someone's opportunity to get the quick exile on. Has to be careful of that zone, though. It will tick very, very heavily, and of course the frost will tick heavily too. Here comes the zone damage, though. It is a lot He needs to make those small potions go burr very, very quickly, because once that zone closes, all of his health is going to be drained so quickly. Now he has the spring step off a cooldown here. There is a lot of gap to be made, but he can close it very quickly. There it is right here. Let's see if he can avoid the player's damage. It's going to be an easy frost shot if anyone's aiming, but it looks like he's going to get out of that scot-free. Now he has all this space right here. This little part of the valley, I don't think anyone's looking at. So he does have this space to sort of get this reset if he can find any health potions. That's the question here. There is no health potions to be found. He sees his opponent out here, gonna just make him miss off the frost. Dude, this fancy footwork is really working out well for Gigabyte, but how long will his luck last? That's the question here. And with these players in the lobby, man, it's going to be a very, very difficult task indeed.
Yeah, we're swapping over to Kamsky, finds a quick kill onto Next. We saw that in the kill feed as we swap that perspective. We do get to see that. The 2-2-2 build coming out, so lots of sustain with that scavenging. The Thirsty, this is definitely going to be looking to play off. He does have that shadow, or the shadow step rather, in his inventory. He's going to be looking to move around. Has that as his rune now, fighting for this high ground control, but he does not, doesn't have to worry too much. He can go ahead and back up, use his flash freeze for a little bit of cover, but that Tox Gauntlet, will be able to shoot through that flash freeze, so he has to be careful here. But playing the edge, being very meticulous, looking and finds a quick kill onto Delicious Wet Fish and brought himself into the zone. Oh, that looks like that cloud gets completely disseminated really quickly by some wind shears. And that might be Gigabyte. Gigabyte is sitting up here on the high ground. It's not going to be him. He finds two. There's no ace, goes down so quickly. The last 4 players left alive as Troll Dentist is getting taken out by Darkbreakers. So we have Kamsky, Darkbreakers, maybe Gigabyte left alive. You see those lightning strikes coming out. That's Gigabyte, goes down in the hands of Kamsky. Finds a quick snipe to follow it up. Will he be able to find a second? Not going to connect with that one. This might be Darkbreakers right here, 1v1v1. Don't know, no clue where that last player is, but look at it. Quick, thirsty, nice, fast drinks. Is going to go ahead and reset a little bit again. And again, look at this. Kamsky using whatever he can, the time that he has, that high ground control, to see if he can find some information about his last remaining enemies. 5 exiles now to his name, OSK.
Well, now, it took a little while to finally appear in the kill feed, but when he appears, man, it is with a vengeance. Gonna quickly just deny this no-fly zone! Darkbreaker's gonna go down. That's 6 exiles for Kamsky. Plenty of help to come back, and now it is a 1v1 fight. He has snuffed out his competition, and this is where Kamsky shines. This is that 1v1 we were talking about. Outbreak gonna come through. Another one, but he's gonna get out DPS by Cozy. That extra half shield bar is gonna pay off big time. Cozy with your game 1 win.
Oh man, beautiful play coming out from the toxicologist in that last one. And Darkbreakers and Gigabyte, hey man, you got to give them their props for representing their classes. They brought the Stone Shaper out to the end game. They brought the Conduit out to the end game. But man, I want to say in solos, to me, it's just not surprising that you see a couple of Runic Tox players making it to the end. They have very, very strong mobility, very good utility. You saw those shadow steps in the midair to chase after Darkbreakers, and just so much damage coming out from there. And even just at the point of playing that high ground, keeping himself high up in the air to begin with, where he had kind of like a kickoff point to use those shadow steps. So he just chased up Darkbreakers and found some big damage. I want to say, I'm kind of looking back at it as it's playing right now. I want to say that I think, and this might be, I could be wrong, but I think Cozy might have sniped Darkbreakers while Kamsky was hitting him with the outbreak. So it was just like this culmination of just damage that just nailed Breakers. And realistically, Breakers probably feels like he just got one-shotted. I mean, that was a lot. There's a lot going on there.
There is an argument to be had there, because from what we saw on the casting desk, we saw an 80 tick and then we saw a 56 tick, which means that it's only about 136 damage. And Darkbreakers, I believe, started out with a full health bar and a full shield bar. So you might be right. Cozy might have snuck in a frost shot kind of in the middle of those 2 toxic slaps. So good awareness by Cozy to notice what was going on, to get that little bit of extra damage, and a good job really overall, if you're going for placement in that situation, to stay back, let these 2 fighters do their thing. And then whenever they're low, whenever one gets finished off, then you can enter in and really just clean up the whole rest of it. Now, he did get very close. There was only about maybe 30 to 40 health left on him whenever he finished it out. But that little bit of advantage that he sealed out by sitting back and letting that happen really, really paid off for him. So that's 5 extra points going towards him for first place as opposed to second. And that's a very, very nice finish overall. I think he had a decent number of exiles as our scores get updated. By the way, if you want to take a look at our scores, you can hop in the Discord, get exclamation Discord, and then go into that bot commands channel, hit exclamation scores. You can find it there. Got to join Discord first, though. Want to make sure that you're getting all this beautiful automated action that we have going on now that we have Marlabot. It's a great thing. But as we go into game number 2, I want to see sort of an adjustment on Kamsky's end, because when, like we were saying, whenever he showed up in the kill feed, he showed up in a big way, but he waited until those final two zones. If he can start that momentum earlier on, then he's going to have a huge day today.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear you. I think that I think it depends on like what the goal is, right? Because when you can guarantee that you have like anywhere between like 3-5 exiles and even like a win or a second place, like you're for sure putting up a solid performance. It could be something that like gets shoved out if you have a crazy performance, but at the same time we have a qualifier where we're taking 15 people. Maybe he's just kind of like feeling out the field, whatever the case may be. He's definitely looking to pop off, toward the end game where it feels like a little bit more guaranteed. And also it just depends. We never know. He might have just had like a slower mid game or an early game where he had to find like maybe his first exile to kind of get the ball rolling with some of that loot. But in any case, really solid performances coming out from those players. It was a pretty crazy, like, I want to say like second to last zone where a lot of people were out on that, like, I don't even know what to call it. There's like a big mountain and there's like a dirt road right below it, and everybody was just kind of getting stuck out there. We saw so many players that were just like getting caught out, and Gigabyte even, forcing himself back into the zone to just like get some more pots. That bought him a lot more time, because after we swapped off his perspective where he was just like spring stepping back into the zone, he was able to stay alive all the way up to like, I think, fourth place or so. So he kept himself alive for quite some time, and definitely gets to score himself some more points and continue that reign. But that was just game number 1. So we have 2 more games on NA. We're going to be swapping over to EU for the remaining 3. And yeah, just looking forward to more of these games. Looking forward to seeing some of these players, if they make some kind of adjustments, what they can do to kind of prolong their play into some of these end game scenarios.
Yeah, and one particular EU player that we saw come out was Next, and I think he's going to have a big day today as well, because he was doing fairly well on the NA side of things in game number 1, and then he has that whole second half to really make up for it. Again, we're only taking the best 4 out of 6 games today for your qualifiers, so if he can really show up, maybe if this was one of his worst performances, which would really, I mean, if this is one of his worst performances, he's going to be pretty happy with himself. But he has plenty of room to sort of really break this thing wide open as well. He's another player that can do it very well. But in terms of that little area that we're having trouble naming, I'm going to call it Fracture Valley. It's got that quick little crack going in. It's got the island where if you misstep, you're already falling in. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, at least we're on the same page. It's like what is it, like southwest of like Verdun Estate? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
just southwest. Yeah,
it's like I don't know what to call that. I think that mountain up there is actually like the highest peak of the map. Like, it's like one of the highest peaks of the map.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I don't know what to call it. Like it's like
Fracture Valley. That's what we're calling it. I'm calling it here. See if y'all like it in the chat. But Fracture Valley is gonna be my take.
Well, it's just crazy because even like the fights, like I feel like I haven't seen like a 9-person like end game around that area before, but a lot of the fights are just like these like wide open scenarios where you're just kind of at the liberty of like whoever's around and like what position you can kind of carve out for yourself. When Gigabyte was like spring stepping across the map, or like across that part of the map, I was like surprised he wasn't just getting focused by like everybody, but it felt like everybody was kind of just like trying to find their own position. But that aside, we're gonna be jumping into game number 2, already starting off. We got Kyojin going to be finding himself a kill, Raikota finding a quick kill onto Safamia, and Brymer gets a kill onto Gay Pineapple. So a few players already getting themselves some points on the board.
Yeah, and those 2 throwaway games are really going to be kicking in for Safamia, man. I hate to see him go out so early, but sometimes just the way the cookie crumbles. We're going to see Darkbreakers just barely fail to thread the needle there through the window. We know he can do it. It's just a matter of when. And now we can see Darkbreakers just trying to find a quick little angle right here. His opponent looks like wants none of this. The boulder's already off a cooldown as well. So we'll see if he gets this little snipe. Actually gonna just barely not connect. He was predicting the low drop down, but his opponent actually levitated a little bit towards the higher side of things. So not gonna connect there. Now he has this whole area to himself, really, but it's only a common stone, so a better rarity definitely serve him well. Going to get a quick little talent point into recovery. Probably the least valuable of the 3 that he's running, but still a scroll nonetheless. We're going to see Wonderful really invest a lot into that quick little window pop, so we'll see if he gets punished with no rune charges as of right now. It looks like he might get away with it. We'll see how it plays out for him, but his build right here, he's switched off the 1-1-1. He is running the 3-2-1. We have Harmony, we have Scavenging, we have Recklessness, so no shenanigans here. Just doesn't want to get frozen up, doesn't want to get stunned up, And then he has that extra little damage reduction right on top of that, but he's getting blown up quite a bit. Gonna try to land a freeze of his own. This might be it. He might be in a really winning situation here, but he's not gonna connect that last little bit. It looks like Cozy might have cleaned up Merlin there, or Rezwu might have picked up Big Zets. Both of them are toxic feeds in the kill feed there, and there was a toxic tornado. So I'm not sure who it was that actually went down, but Wonderful might be fighting yet another person here.
Yeah, might be. Looking at the kill feed again, we do have Merlin going to be falling out a little bit early on this one, unfortunately, but Cozy pushing that lead a little bit. We have our first place winner already finding himself a couple of kills in this one. So those points like stacking, those padding, definitely going to feel a little bit good. But Wonderful looking to chase up on this player. You have the Vanishing Mist. He's trying to follow, see what he can find. But oh, look at that. The Dark Side coming out. Wonderful getting very, very damaged. That though turns it around. Joshua not going to be able to finish that one. That has got to hurt when you're just getting slowed down. You have one more slap you have to get off, but Wonderful going to barely survive that one. That one was such an interesting interaction there.
And to quote a certain game, that one was looking a little bit sus here today, but the recklessness, surprising enough, really paying some dividends out here, making it a 3-shot victory, 49s on the toxic slap. Man, what I don't want it to call it lucky. We'll call it calculated, but my goodness, is he cutting it close. Has to be very careful about that in the future, but he'll get a quick little sigh of relief. He'll count his lucky stars, and he'll feel really good about the score. This is going to be a quick, easy little pickup here for Rezwu onto Nice there, and now he's sitting pretty with 3 exiles here, so he's feeling pretty good. Got that 2-2-2 little build right here, the same one everyone seems to be running today. It's got that sort of that utility from double Shadow Step. If he does find Shadow Step, we're seeing a few players pick up the dash instead. So easy little adjustment for the lower cooldown into your Vanishing Mist. So we'll see how that pays off for him. But for right now, feeling pretty good. We'll see how he progresses into the mid game. We're going to hop on over to Lil Hoosel or Lil Hoosey. I can't really tell which one that is. L or an I, who knows?
I'm leaning into Lil Hustle. Yeah, that's what I've been saying. I think that's probably a little bit accurate. But yeah, just to even talk about the 2-2-2 build, he's actually running it with the Fortitude. But I think that the 2-2-2 build, toxicologist or not, I think has a lot of value to be brought to the table in solos. You have those quick resets, that third party kind of like defense with scavenging if you are going to be finding yourself in situations where you're finishing up the fight. And then Runic, of course, Spring Step, Shadow Step, Dash, whatever the case may be, you're bringing a lot of these cooldowns much lower and giving yourself a lot to work with. So I think 2-2-2 in solos, very, very strong build. It's not too far off from the 2-1-2 build that you see with Dexterity on a Stone Shaper build. So just a lot that you bring to the table. Look at that. Looking at the kill feed, AO James and Chap getting taken down by Cozy. Might have been a third party that he brought into the table, or just something that he just flies into a scenario and wins all of his fights. Delicious Wetfish and Darkbreakers finding themselves kills as well. And just to speak on Rezwu, we didn't see a lot of him in the last game, but maybe finding his stride here in game number 2 with, again, those 3 exiles that he does have on the board. So his Little Hustle just going to be changing over to that Shadow Step. He's going to swap out and kind of carry this build into more of the mid game.
Yeah, as we were talking about Rezwu, though, it looks like he will get taken out by Delicious Wetfish, and that is 4 exiles in very quick succession coming out here. I wonder if there's a big party going on in one of these areas of the map. It looks like there might be. Gigabyte having a nice little view of all the action out here. He's still not spotted out by his opponent. Maybe he is. I'm not quite sure. We're seeing a bit of crouch spam coming out, but it looks like he doesn't. Looks like he doesn't know Gigabyte's here. So it looks like Gigabyte might be looking to play the third party here, playing the referee of this fight, making sure that no holds, no illegal moves are being taken up, and he's just going to really make it rain wind spam out here. Going to get a quick little shaving of the shields coming out, and also I do have to point out he has even more knowledge. I don't know where he's dropping or where he's finding all this, but it seems that knowledge potions are in no short supply wherever he's going. I really got to find out where he's dropping. If it's Dustpool,
it's Dustful, yeah. Dustful's doing him a service, because look at this. At 0 exiles, he's only short 1 scroll on his build, so looking really, really strong there. Oh, the freeze into Darkbreakers is going to get him sniped, but luckily he didn't take a second sniper. Ikoda getting an exile onto Eldegold, but right now it is all about Darkbreakers. The aggression coming out, and yes, he finds that quick exile onto Wonderful. Not going to be able to stay off the ground with that one, but it seems like Darkbreakers knows that there might be a third party in the area. He's trying to keep himself safe and secure if he can. You see that fire tornado start to come come out. That's a great zoning tool that really kind of determines and defines the play style of that Pyromancer class, if that's how they're running it. It might be a Tempest, who knows, but still just a lot of good utility to come out, from that combination that really gets more damage, sucks you in, it forces you to take the damage. It's really, really an obnoxious combo. Definitely something that should be getting used and being put to the test, especially the fact that you can tag them with Ignite. Look at this, the aggression coming out. I do believe this is, oh, look at that, the big shockwave coming around. That's going to be Darkbreakers completely turning it around. And that is, listen, this is one thing that I always talk about with the Stone Shaper class. You have to know when to completely step on the gas and just turn it around. You get one shockwave, one really big boulder, and it is not about being on the defensives anymore. It's all about going offensive. So that's a crazy play coming out from Darkbreakers. Man, I've been kind of fumbling over my words trying to get it all out, and Darkbreakers just gives me a reason to get super excited about that. But look at that, the Iceland's coming out, and Darkbreakers has to get some mobility moving here.
Yeah, thankfully that Stone Shaper actually providing quite a bit of mobility. Bedrock into dash, one of our favorite combos that we like to see out here on the caster desk, and he's using it to a great extent here. He is finding the space to get a quick little reset. Doesn't want to really waste any of the value from his shield potions, so he won't heal all the way full. So that little 5-tick he wants to go. Excellent third party. That's going to be Brimer just being rained on his parade. And now we have a little bit of focus mana go Burr out here. A little bit of damage onto Darkbreakers, but oh, this Featherfall coming out. I wonder who is going to be running the Featherfall at this point, but Darkbreakers doesn't want any of that. He's going to try to get a quick little restore on the shield here. No corrosion's going to be ticked here, but he does have that recovery working overtime. Oh no, this might be the end of Darkbreakers if he's not careful. Needs to go back, needs to get a quick little reset off, needs to get something going, make those small potions go Burr, and it looks like he might have lost him for now. This might be the safe haven for Darkbreakers. Timberin, it's Darkbreakers' home, man. He's going to keep his door shut. He's going to keep the roof over his head, and he's going to get this giant turtle shield going all the way back in. Now, the zone is closing, so he does have quite a bit of work to do, quite a bit of space to cover. We'll see where that zone is closing here, hopefully. If we can get the map pulled up, this might be a little bit effort required. Okay, yeah, that rotation number 3 is going to be quite brutal, so hopefully he finds some health potions, because that is a long way to go for my man here.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a good amount of health potions in the inventory right now. And I was going to say, looking at the kill feed, it looks like No Ace was able to pick up an exile onto Cozy and Flying Pie. So some unfortunate situation there for Cozy. He's going to fall a little bit earlier than he'd like to. But again, he did grab himself some points. And, to speak to Darkbreaker's build, one thing that never really got brought up too much with recovery in the past, because it was just so strong as a healing and sustain tool, is the fact that it actually buys you more time in the storm, which it always did, but we've never really brought that up too much. It was not much of the talking point with recovery. And Darkbreakers, this is now the second time we've seen him lean directly into the storm just to try to stay alive. But as I'm saying, stay alive, Rykota, big damage coming back his direction. We are catching a little bit of lag here. Unfortunately, we'll probably have to swap positions, but looks like the Delicious Wet Fish was on the opposite end of that potentially. But we do see that kill feed. Rykota did fall at the hands of Troll Dentist. Armin steps in big and takes out Delicious Wet Fish. So unfortunately, we kind of lost a little bit of that perspective, but you guys know how the technicalities go. But look at this, we're back on Lil Hustle, so he's going to be moving his way back into the zone, only one scroll away from completely scrolled up. And the big DF, the self DF. Unfortunately, now you're going to see that battery popped in the air. Not going to be a great tool to stay alive in this player. The full aggression, he's popping all the knowledge in the world, but it looks like these players, because I think I see two, yes I do, they're going to be pushing in. Lil Hustle may not be able to stay alive for very much longer.
Yeah, it's a quick little nursery rhyme from your boy Crashy over here, but Troll Dentist having none of that. Lil Hustle's going to go down. Actually, a very low number of players now. We're down to 4 thanks to Darkbreakers. He made it all the way back with full health and full shield, no less. Got 5 so far, and he's got 3 more opponents to deal with here, and this is quite a big zone, too. We might see a little bit of a lull in the late game as opposed to mid, but yeah, that's quite a bit of action being just broken up by Darkbreakers, so it was a pretty good job of him to get back into the zone as quickly as he did, and now he's searching for his next target. Finds one on the top of the tower over here, and I think that might have been a Frost and Iceland's coming out, and now he has 2 down. Needs to find the last one. Hopefully he doesn't get snuck up on. Not going to reveal his position. He's thinking about it. He wants to get this boulder out, and that's 1 shadow step down from his opponent. This is 6 seconds where there's a little bit of freedom here, but we've been seeing a lot of runic fluency, so maybe not as free as we thought. We have Gigabyte on the other side of things. I think this is number 4 out of our 4 contestants here. We got Darkbreakers, we got 2 on the other towers, and then we have Gigabyte out here playing very, very far back, almost going to get spotted out by this fireball, but going to quickly sidestep and not get anything going there. Now we're going to see if we have a little bit of conduit power coming out, see if we can get a little bit of lightning bolts coming out. He's really playing this very safely. He doesn't really want to commit here. Got to be a little bit careful of next here on this ice dance. No exiles yet. Something very uncharacteristic for Next as to this point, but hopefully we'll see him break these things wide open as we know he can. Oh, very nice fireball, gonna find Gigabyte, and this might be the end of it. One more fireball will do it. Trying to land the frost, but nothing gonna connect here. And a little bit of lag on our part. We'll see how this fight ends up, and he will get out of it. Reset coming out, but the follow-up is strong as well. No Ace not gonna let that target get away. This is one more exile for him. 5 so far. We'll see if he makes it 6.
Yeah, and Gigabyte, finds himself in that 4th place position again. So, still going to be grabbing himself some points. We do have Next making it towards the end game now. Going to be rocking this Runic Fluency Tox build. He is going to be riding the end of the zone here, playing his positioning as, kind of tight as he can. Doesn't need to force himself toward the center just yet. Doesn't want to get into too much action. The last 3 players remaining, we do have Darkbreakers here in the end game as well again. I'm not sure who that last player is, but you're going to see Darkbreakers doesn't have a flight rune in this game, so he's going to be using this dash. He's trying to find some damage, has that fire offhand, so big damage going to be coming out from Darkbreakers, especially if he can land one of those shockwaves. Not the best zone for him, but he is going to be throwing boulders. Unfortunately, he's going to connect with himself, but big damage coming out. It finds that DF onto his enemy player. Is he going to push that? No, not necessarily. It does look like No Ace finds that cleanup snipe, so it's going to be 1v1 situation. We have the Pyromancer versus the Stone Shaper. Lots of open room, and look at that boulder placement. He is going to find a big tag now, looking to move in. No Ace is just trying to float, but the shockwave is going to land. He can predict that movement. No Ace might be looking for a bit of a reset. Maybe a small potion is going to go down, but it looks like Darkbreakers all is but confirming this win here. Playing that high ground, taking it slow. He doesn't have to overextend. Plays it nice, fundamental spell break right there. Finds that last kill and a win in game number 2.
Yeah, Darkbreakers out here saying no ignite needed. I can land these midair and have the stone on the ground. You have nowhere to go. That's going to be a nice little pickup from him for game number 2. We're 2 games in, 4 more to go. And man, what a show today. We were talking about, or rather you were talking about last week about how by game 2, we were kind of already fighting for second place with Megaverse taking the lead, but I'm not seeing that here today. I'm seeing a very, very even event so far. We have quite a few names that are still in the conversation here. No Ace, we have Next, we have Cozy taking game number 1. Kamsky is still in the conversation. We have Gigabyte as well. I mean, this is, at this point, it's very hard to tell who's really pulling ahead. So if you want any sort of hint on it, you can go ahead and hit exclamation Discord, get those scores into our bot commands channel, and we'll pick up from there. But man, it's going to be a very, very steep task to see who is going to come out on top here. Keep in mind that as long as you're within the top 15, you'll be qualifying. So maybe not as dangerous for those particular contestants, but still very, very close.
Yeah, and even just the knowledge of knowing that these points are probably close and we don't have like a definitive leader right now, it helps you kind of make your decision when you're in the qualifier about maybe how you want to play. You might not have to play so aggressively. Maybe you do want to play a little bit more for placement, try to get some of that consistency going. But for a couple players, we got, Cozy put up some more kills in this game, so definitely going to be able to add to his score. Darkbreaker's definitely most likely going to be our point leader as of right now, as he's found himself into a couple of end games, has gotten himself some exiles. But a few of those other players out there, Gigabyte, again, keeping himself really high up on the standings, and even some other players who maybe didn't have the best game number 1 finding themselves to the end game like Next as well. So the points they're ever flowing, they're shifting around a little bit, so still a lot of room for plays to be made, and for one big game could be the difference here when you're trying to jump into the top 15 at least, because that's what we're looking for today. We got 4 more games out of the total 6 games that are being played. We have 4 that are going to be scored and taken to the finals will be the top 15.
Yeah, and to give you a quick little update on at least our top 3, they're all within about 70 points of each other. We have Darkbreakers so far with 573 points, Cozy with 540, and Kamsky with 507. That's your top 3 that were taken from the bot commands channel. Again, exclamation scores in our Discord will get you that update, and you can see how everyone's doing. We have all 33 players being tracked pretty well here. Top 15, actually quite a diverse list of all of our contestants here. We're seeing quite a few that we know and quite a few that we don't, kind of rising up the ranks a little bit to get into that final event next week. But yeah, some clear front runners here. Darkbreakers, Cozy, and Kamsky. We'll see if that order changes at all, or if anyone's going to bump themselves up. But they're both doing, or all three of them are doing very, very well for the first 2 games. And like we were saying, only 4 games are going to be counted. So if this is one of your dropout games, I know notably players like Next really, really like to pop off on their home server. He's had a history of that just throughout the history of Element. He likes to go aggressive on EU, and whenever he hit up to NA, it used to be reversed back in the day where we do EU first and NA. He'd go really aggressive on EU, then kind of coast through NA. It looks like we might see a reverse of that coming in for game number 3, but we'll see. There's still plenty of time for these scores to be updated as far as performance goes.
Yeah, and like I said, there's just a lot of room for one singular game to be the difference between making it in the top 15 or not. And so it does sound like we're going to be jumping into game number 3 here in just a second. That's going to be the last NA game of the day before we swap on over before our little halftime. But yeah, still so many good players in this one, and I've just been watching the kill feed a lot. Sometimes we'll be just talking about the builds or giving our little analysis on what's going on, what the play is, and you're just seeing like back-to-back kills. There's really not one crazy leader. Cozy had himself a couple of back-to-back kills. No Ace has been getting some really good exiles in this qualifier as well. So presumably he's going to be on the higher side of things, doing pretty well in this one. And yeah. So lots of room to work with. It's hard to just nail on any one player that's doing well because it feels like everybody's got themselves a little bit of a carved out position. We're going to be moving over to Raikkoda, and again, this is an interesting. I don't want to say it's an interesting build, but a pretty solid build. You have the Runic Dex and Thirsty. Oh no, Cozy goes down early in this one. That's definitely not something he wants to see, as he probably didn't have as long of a game as he wanted in game number 2. He's going to have to put his big boy pants as we move over into EU after this game, because that's going to be the last NA game. But look, Gigglebite finds himself again another exile on the northern side, and we do know that he loves to land up here at the Dustpool Hold, and if he can secure this area, lots of loot for him to have.
So yeah, I think I know what happened to Cozy here. He saw the name Icy Pigs, and he's thinking, oh, he has a Frost. But Icy Pigs, actually, big proponent of false advertising, actually had a Wind offhand. So I think that played into the little bit of the mind game here. Actually just gets away with less than 20 HP. So, has to be thinking about that, the mental state of Spellbreak. Do we have to go off of our gamer tags, or do we actually have that other option in our back pocket? That's something we got to think about. But for right now, Gigabyte finding himself in a very good situation. We have Flying Pie again, false advertising. We don't have a flight rune. I don't know what's going on here, but it seems that he has a bit of an advantage here. We'll have to see. He is keeping himself very high in the air. So, he is kind of staying true to his aim a little bit, but this is going to be a very difficult thing to do for him to steal this one out, because his opponent has the range advantage and he has the wind spam. You could see landing for 4 damage each time it hits. So very, very low amounts of burst damage. Going to have to sneak up. This is the only way this is going to work. Let's see if he can get in within 3 seconds. The Toxic coming out, but going to get traded on. This is a little bit of a Toxic Tornado coming out, but he's still in a very, very bad position here. His opponent definitely has the advantage at this point, despite the health that Flying Pie has managed to amass for himself. This is going to be a quick combust coming out. No Ignite going to be ticked, so he might be able to get away here, but he is counting his lucky stars right now. Got to find a way to get out of this position or find himself a long-range option, because that wind on his offhand doesn't seem to be paying off too much.
Yeah, and I definitely think that like the issue that he's having there was just that lack of mobility. He didn't have a way to close that gap. So, we'll have to see if we can check back in with him. We'll see who the winner of that fight is. But Wonderful, finds himself in exile in the last shot. The third party instantly looking to show up, as Wonderful is going to have to back up. Those fire tornadoes are definitely something to think about, because, again, you get so much information. You get some free damage. You force the player to have to walk out of that tornado. But at the same time, you get that Ignite onto them, which, gives you some information about their positioning, where they're looking to move around the map. Darkbreaker's finding himself a kill onto ProGamer69. It looks like Wonderful is just going to be able to chill here for a little bit. The enemy player did back up, give himself a little bit of room. Oh, look at that.
Oh.
Nice little flick to find the shot. Isn't going to look to close the gap. The shockwave comes down, and Insomniac Panda goes down at the hands of Wonderful. Makes that look easy, but the third party is not going to give him any space. Luckily, Wonderful was able to pop one of those potions. We got another flaming tornado. We'll see what's going on here. But Wonderful, nice little, switch ups, finds those nice shockwaves, is going to land another. Will he go back on in? We do have the Keymaster for here. Enemy player looking to land some damage, but Wonderful, 1, 2, 3, Elder Gold goes down.
Sharingan activated. Mangekyo. We're seeing wonderful out here, seeing things that I didn't even know were here. We haven't just taken a peek into the invisibility and then fires right on back on the third party. Like, you got to be kidding me, man. Wonderful out here making some plays. You got to be thinking, man, it's not just the build we're talking about here. That was, if you're able to land midair fireballs like that, I mean, you're going to go a long way in this game. And that's exactly what Wonderful's doing. 3 exiles already, 30 opponents total still left in the game here. But what a start coming out from Wonderful. Great things being seen out here. So we'll see if we can get into any more action here. Plenty of loot to go around, though. He is min-maxing a little bit. Maybe a little bit of better rarity onto his fire, what he's looking for. But for right now, I mean, he's got to be feeling pretty good, Crashy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did see the kill feed. Unfortunately, Rezu was not. I'm not sure if he maybe died to the zone, maybe was trying to space out from an enemy player, and you know, so enough time had passed or whatever the case may be. But it looks like he gets self-exiled or falls in fracture, whatever the case may be. He's going to go down a little bit, unfortunately, too early. So we're going to be jumping on board with Flying Pie, who's hanging out over on this. Help me out here. What's the name of this area? I can't think of it.
Evangard, yeah. There you go.
Evangard. Okay, there we go. So he does take a Frost Lance, so he's going to have to build a little bit of space between him and his enemy player. And unfortunately, again, this is one thing that I see a lot in solo. Sometimes players walk away from their spawn, their drop spot with lots of scrolls, and other times it seems like they just aren't able to get themselves going. They can't find the kills, they can't find the right chest to just give them what they need. Flying Pie finds himself in that kind of a situation. Now he does reset his shields a little bit, so he does have this enemy player on that high ground. He's going to be looking to fight here. He doesn't have a Frost offhand. I'm not sure if that's the goal of the build or if he's looking to use these like corrosion tornadoes to get some tags on the enemy player. That's a what is that? Is that a Chronomaster? You see that Chronomaster coming out? Looks like something, some little cheeky play coming out from this player maybe, but he is going to be trying to track him. He knows he doesn't have a ton of mobility, some big damage coming out, and that's going to be the immune coming out from Flash Freeze. So Chronomaster on a Frostborn, presumably, so he's going to go ahead and chase him down. That's going to be Nico falls at the hands of Flying Pie. So at least he gets something going. He's going to grab himself a scroll as we move over to Next, who looks like he might be in a dangerous position. The Flash Freeze coming out defensively. Next going to be dropped down to a very low health number. Looks like he's trying to use whatever he can to build some space between him and his enemy, but he has no more cooldowns, and it's going to be that last leg that he is on. Doesn't have the Thirsty, and unfortunately for him, Kamsky holding on to that high ground is going to go ahead and take him down.
You see, I didn't realize that you needed some sort of Sharingan power to play competitive. I mean, because it seems like everyone's tracking everybody out of Invis. You could see Kamsky just really laying down the fire here. He knew exactly where Next was going to be out of that Vanishing Mist, and that kind of is the difference here. Unfortunately, not enough sight to really dodge out of that Ice Lance here, so he will eat quite a bit, but he does have that Thirsty talent, so he might be looking for a little bit of a reset, but maybe a quick little bit of mind games coming out. Gonna actually cancel the healing for some reason. Really like to see what his thought process is going in, trying to do that, but it looks like he will get the legendary potion off. Again, the cooldown of that with the full Thirsty going to be cut down all the way to, I believe, 4 or 5 seconds as opposed to 8. So very, very big value coming out of Thirsty. If you ever want to run it in your games, it's a great talent to pick up. But it looks like Kamsky might have just lost his opponent here. He knows the general direction of where he might have gone given the direction of the zone. But for right now, it is going to be just a bit of a stalemate coming out. Darkbreakers, on the other hand, finds an advantage here to see if he can get a repeat of these midair fireballs. His opponent pulling out the Flash Freeze, but it doesn't protect against Stone. You can see that here, half HP, a quarter HP, almost in the fracture. I'm looking to see in the kill feed if he actually landed there, but this is very, very close for his opponent here, and that's the end of it. Flying Pie not able to fly out of that one. Darkbreakers actually gonna take the flight rune there and then seal out the exile. The full focus mana, you're seeing it pay off. 47 damage fireballs on the epic rarity. It's a lot of damage to eat, and in the hands of Darkbreakers, you're just asking for trouble.
Yeah, we're feeling out the full Breakers build here. You know, sometimes running the wind offhand, but, as of late, I've been seeing him with that fire offhand, just packing the punches with that full focus mana, like you said. And this is it. This is the Darkbreaker special right here. He loves to use that flight rune, gets himself a lot of information, whether this is just a scouting tactic, can rain down some, unexpected damage with those boulders. You see that there. Kamsky going to find himself another exile. onto I can't read the name. I had it in my head, but I lost it. But it does look like we're gonna move over to Juan Cheeto. So yeah, Big Zet's gonna go down. Juan Cheeto now on the back foot, gonna be using that last tundra, the last little bit of survivability that he has. But as he steps out of it, it's gonna be Gigabyte with the wind spam is gonna go ahead and knock him down. So Gigabyte has 3 exiles himself. Again, had some knowledge because we see these extra charges. Like you said, I don't know what's going on with there. Gigabyte knows where to find the knowledge potions, but we do move over to Delicious Wet Fish. Gonna be rocking this Frost offhand, and look at that, it's such a big shot. Will he find the second? Not gonna connect with it, but Delicious Wet Fish, the lightning strike go down, but he does have 2 charges of Runic. Might be looking to close the gap here. He does have this player one shot. Finds it. Yes, he does. That's gonna be Oberyn Martell. Oberyn Martell 1. I love the name. I actually can't help myself from laughing. That's such a good one. He's going to fall down. No Ace gets himself a couple of kills on the kill feed, you can see as well. So we're cutting down to the last 10 players.
Well, as you can see, we have a bit more of false advertising. He definitely didn't win that one, as he's going to be sitting back in that lobby. That's 3 times in one game, guys. I can't make this stuff up, but Delicious Wet Fish over here going to be finding himself a nice corner of the tower. We're going to hop on over to Wonderful, though. We'll see if he can land these wonderful shots that we know him for. He's looking for it. He wants to land all these fireballs. That's 1 down, but no ignite tag. He actually has Stone Shaper against the Tempest. That's going to be a tough order, but the Boulder's going to find the target. He does have 1 still in the pocket. We'll see if he uses it, but the Fire Tornado going to try to land a little bit of AoE damage. Not really going to connect here, but a quick little trade of the shield. This is what I like from competitive players. You know, they know how to use their time wisely, and even if there's no immediate action going on, they still have that potion off cooldown. But this might be the end of Wonderful here. His opponent is going to be landing out this full damage. This Darkbreaker's almost going to pay for that, but does get out of it. We'll see if he gets the quick reset off of that. But yeah, it looks like he is going to get out of that scot-free. He does see a fight developing over here. Doesn't really want to step into that, but he is going to get caught out by the tornado. This Delicious Wet Fish onto Lil Hustle. We'll see how he does. That's going to be a very quick exile. Mid-air fireballs are the name of the game here, and this might be a repeat. You know, he is a little bit low on the health, but oh my goodness, this man turns every fight. That's 7 exiles, 2 opponents to go. It looks like he is being hunted down by one of his remaining opponents, but my goodness, you walk up on Darkbreakers, you don't expect the focus mana. Those shockwaves are doing over 50 damage, my man. Those are brutal.
I think it's just a case of like Stone Shaper too. Like it's the play style, the ability to quickly spin that damage around. You see that first fight go down. He uses the flight rune, and this means he's fully committed because he pops the flight, jumps right into the action, finds one, has the focus mana at full capacity, throws out as much damage as he can, is going to land that big boulder combo, and then follows it up with another fireball onto Kyrie Caitlyn. It's that confidence that, you know, you don't have a choice really whenever you're not running a dash rune where you're going to get a second rune usage. The minute he popped that flight and canceled it to go in on that fight, he was all in. Finds 1, finds 2, I mean finds 3, however many kills he just got there. A pretty crazy performance coming out from Darkbreakers. And when you have that full focus mana, it's just definitely something that you gotta respect. Look at him, he's hanging out, he's having a good time. He knows he's got probably the best performance on the board, and there's only 2 other players that are going to stop him from getting that back-to-back victory. And he loves to throw out the boulders. I'm surprised we don't see him fly up, but he's just taking his time, and Darkbreakers is definitely in control of this game here.
Yeah, this almost certainly is Gigabyte out here. Judging from the lightning, I don't think anyone else would really run that. But a little bit of mutual respect coming out here, and we're gonna see them just charge out here. Neither of them really want to fight right now because they know that there's that third person just waiting. So this might be a handshake. I'm not really sure what's going on here, or if they both just don't want to commit into something like too heavy, you know. But here we go. I think this is it. I think this is going to be the final member going to show their face out here. We have a Conduit, we have a Pyromancer, and we have a Stone Shaper. And we're going to see who is going to come out on top here. It looks like Darkbreakers really wants to play the referee to this fight. It looks like both Gigabyte and Darkbreakers they both have that flight going on. Going to get a quick switch for another angle here to see what exactly is going on from all angles. Looks like Gigabyte might have called out here, and this is why they didn't want to engage very early on, because as soon as you commit, that other person playing referee in here is going to just tag you for free damage, and that's not what you want. And that's going to
Oh,
Gigabyte being absolutely punished for taking the fight without Darkbreaker's permission. Now we have the cleanup, and this might be it. Yep, Darkbreaker's going to end up with 9 exiles onto no ace, and that's game number 3 for you. 2 in a row for Darkbreakers. Hit me with that Google Glass, Crashy. What we got going on in there?
yikes, bro. Darkbreakers is he's a guy and he plays Spellbreak. Like, I don't know, man. It's pretty impressive. I mean, he positions well. He, wasn't the person that was getting focused. It seemed like Gigabyte somewhere along the way got, took a lot of damage and was forced to fly up. He also has the flight room, chases him, lands a couple of key fireballs, falls down, gets the damage that he needs onto no ace. I mean, he just cleans it up. That was a really, really big performance from Darkbreakers, regardless of how you look at it. I mean, that's back-to-back wins for Darkbreakers. Is that right? Did he win game number 2? My
That
brain
is
doesn't.
correct.
My brain doesn't work already. So yeah, Darkbreaker's back-to-back wins, big kills, definitely solidifying himself in the point lead. Because I believe he got 3rd place in game number 1 as well with some exiles. So he's definitely solidifying himself in that first place position. He's going to carry himself over into EU, and he really just needs to have one more solid performance. I mean, at this point, again, you can talk about the way that the qualifier works. He's going to be guaranteed moving on to finals. We're going to be taking those top 15 performances from the day. So we're going to be moving on to the halftime break here in a little bit, going into EU for our last 3 games. Any thoughts, OSK? What are you seeing? What are you feeling?
Man, I think this is just peak mind games of Spellbreak here, especially between Darkbreakers and Gigabyte. They both understand that the last one to engage is going to have that huge advantage. And if you're really going to commit a resource like Flight, despite having your conduit with that overload skill, I mean, it's going to really take a toll there because you have that long cooldown that you got to think about. And then you have another opponent like in the back of your mind. It's going to be eating into your focus here. So, I mean, it's kind of ironic, because you want to fight, you want to win the game to, from winning those fights. But then you're also thinking, if my opponent engages first, it's a free win. But if I engage first, they might want to. So it's like a kind of weird, I want to fight, but I also don't want to fight kind of scenario. So that's just peak Spellbreak mind games for you. But like Cratchy said, we do have a halftime break that we're going to be hopping into right now. Don't go away. Don't go anywhere. Got a nice halftime show, and we'll hop into EU for the last 3. Stay tuned. We got plenty of action coming up. Hello and welcome back to the Element Solos Cash Cup. Apparently a ghost has entered Crashy's webcam. Oh no. But we're going to be getting into game number 4 here very, very quickly. Again, for the second half, we'll be on our EU servers. So we'll be hopping on over there. And then 4 of our total 6 games are going to be counted for the final scores. So we're going to be all set there. Crashy, the Google Glass, man, I'm seeing a glitch on your screen. What happened there, buddy?
Oh no, we're just prototyping some new technology. It's not ready yet. I gotta get on a call with Elon. There's a few people I need to meet up with, but we'll get that sorted out before we jump into the next game. But yeah, no, so yeah, the halftime is here. Some scores are shifting around. Darkbreakers has done some things, and one thing I want to say is, Stone Shaper is still performing really, really well in the meta. Pyromancer, I feel like, is something that we don't see performing as well lately, but No Ace is holding it down. No Ace is holding it down on the Pyromancer. I'm assuming he's still rocking that Harmony Fervor build, which I think, maybe hasn't gotten a ton of consideration in the past. But again, when we talked about it, you can obviously, anybody should know the strength of Harmony is good. Like the solid talent, it comes out, it does its thing, keeps you safe from the flash freeze. And, whether it's a Frostborn player, an offhand Frost user, flash freeze is really strong in the meta. I mean, it's something that comes out, something that people pop. It's a defensive, and all of a sudden, when they're in your face, there ain't no defensive anymore. They have that harmony, and without being able to run damage modifier, you don't have any focus mana. You got to find a way to throw some damage in the build, and he likes to do it with the fervor. So that gives him that spam potential, even using the offhand frost, still choosing to use that fervor because he knows he wants it for that fireball engagement. Whenever he gets in close, he's got to make sure to get that damage out. So I really like that build. I think it's a very interesting take on his way of playing Pyromancer, and again, the shout out to No Ace for keeping Pyromancer in the game. So good stuff.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. And we're going to pull up the top 5 scores for you here after halftime. Keep in mind that the top 15 at the end of this will make it into our finals. But top 5 for you, we have Darkbreakers taking the lead here. 2 wins in a row for game 2 and game 3. Going to get a total of 962 score, along with a lot of exiles. We got No Ace and Kamsky following that up, followed by Gigabyte and Delicious Wet Fish, actually. A name I didn't expect to be up this high. But, I'm very, very happy I was wrong. I love to see the console players come out and really make themselves known out here. So, guys, that's your top 5 scores here, along with the actual numerical value here. Plenty of exiles and plenty of placements to go around. And again, I will stress that we have only played 3 games so far, and your top 4 scores out of a total of 6 games will be making it into our final scores. So, gives you a little bit of leeway if you have a bad drop or if you miss the lobby, any sort of that thing. We get a lot of forgiveness in this particular event. So, just keep that in mind going forward, that these scores, while good for 3 games, might be changing up here going into this next game.
Yeah, and again, we do have 15 players going to be moving on to the finals. So that's just top 5. If you're not in the Discord, you need to be. I mean, I'll put it this way. Usually, that's like that. We can kind of get a little bit meta here. We can break character and say like that's that caster thing that we got to do. But if anybody in the chat in the community is not in the Discord, get involved, because you never know. If you're looking to just jump into scrims for content for yourself, for a little bit of practice, they're running all the time. We got these schedules. We have so many hardworking people behind the scenes. Zen, Dr. Nut, Strofo, Brett, all of our various casters that we have. So lots going on here in the Element community, but we're just doing it with the Spellbreak community, and that's what makes everything fun. So we're keeping things going. We're providing that content, and yeah, it's a fun time. But game number 4 is about to be underway. We have that confirmation. Our production man in our ear, Dr. Nut, is going to be dropping us into game number 4. Looking excited, or looking forward to it. Pretty excited. There we go. Words are hard. But yeah, we got a nice little game number 4 going into it.
Of course, can't forget Strofo as well. He's our other observer on the desk here today. So
did I not say Strofo?
No, but that's why I'm here, buddy. We got 2 casters for 2 names. No, but we got Strofo on the other cam here. He's helping out Dr. Nut. That's the switch right here. That's only possible with 2 observers. So very, very nicely done by those 2, bringing you the production here. Merlin, unfortunately, going to find himself on a bit of a rough spot here. His opponent already found a belt. That common's not going to be enough. That's going to be Gigabyte holding down his favorite drop spot. Apparently, this is the secret to getting knowledge potions, because Darkbreakers comes out here. He's got his focus mana. He's got his fervor. He's got his thirsty. Able to find literally 1 piece of gear, that epic belt, the most important part. And it's going to just lay out. He's going to lay out the land. He is the sheriff in these lands, and no one is going to cross the border without him knowing about it. So ARG Wanchito, though, another contestant of ours, going to be finding himself in a bit of a skirmish here. The health bars are relatively the same. He's also holding down the Pyromancer build. Very nice shot to force his opponent to spring step out of the way. But Wanchito here, oh no, this might be a bit of that South American lag we all know and love here. No one ever walks in Spellbreak, but apparently we're seeing a little bit here. If you've never known what the walking animation looks like, there's your first pick right there. You'll never see it again unless you watch Element scrims or Element event. It's a great thing.
I was gonna say that's not lag. He's just RPing his reign of the hillside here. Like this is his area. Like he's just taking over. But yeah, no, Wanchito gonna be rocking the Pyromancer, and I gotta give him a shout out, because this is that full on damage mod, running complete damage. But we're gonna be moving over to Kyojin, gonna be fighting up here on the northwestern side of the map, and he's gonna be looking to close the gap if he can. And a really interesting build, going to be rocking 2-2-1. So he's really leaning into the mobility, but he wants that sustain of scavenging. So he's going to go ahead and back up, or just reposition a little bit. Looking at the kill feed, it looks like Cozy has scored himself a couple of exiles. So starting this game off pretty hot as well. Kyojin just going to take it a little bit slow. Doesn't have to force anything here. He's going to be looking to loot up a little bit more. But 28 players left alive. This is game number 4. This is where you start to see if there's any kind of change in play styles. Are people going to go aggressive because they're trying to close the gap on the points? What does the context of the event have an effect on the upcoming games? That's really what we're going to be looking at here, because some players not going to be sitting in that top 15 position. They might have to play with just a slight hint of desperation, but we're going to be seeing how that plays out, because they got to get themselves on the board. We do have Kyojin still just just looting around. And I want to see what the overall build is here, because I don't really know if he's looking to rock that wind offhand. He's had a couple of opportunities to change that up. Cozy, again, going to find himself another kill, maybe even another couple, it looks like. We're going to be moving over to Delicious Wet Fish. And this, again, another runic build, really, really solid build. The 2-3-1 has that... What am I looking for? Recklessness talent. He's going to be picking up this Frost offhand. We'll see what Delicious Wetfish decides to do. We do have a couple players in this close proximity area as him. He's going to go ahead and take it slow. Looks like he's going to buy himself a little bit of time before this full-on engagement happens.
Yeah, but before we move on here, I have to stress, I know we have a few of these fans in the chat here. It's pronounced Kyojin, actually. If you ever watch Attack on Titan, Shinjeki no Kyojin, just have to make sure that we don't, make anyone mad in the chat here, because it's one of my favorite shows too. But anyway,
that was for you. Here. That wasn't for anybody in the chat. That was
it was 100% for me. I won't even lie. But Delicious Wet Fish. Hey, we're gonna find some angles here, okay? He's got the firewall, but it doesn't block any fire. Beautiful combust coming out, but the shield has already been proc, so that will be pretty much a nothing burger coming out. Nice legendary loot he's gonna find right here. Hopefully he finds a better fire, but instead gonna find one more charge onto Recklessness here. And really nothing's really going on here. There was a brief moment of action that he was able to witness, and it was a great thing at the time, but now he's just kind of like, nothing's really happening. I'm just going to loot up. Nothing really much going on. The corrosion, though, you're going to see one more tick of 4, able to reveal the last little bit of position from his opponent here. Going to try to cancel out the frost with the toxic, but not really going to do it. Looking for another frost here. This is the power of Kamsky that he's trying to really harness here. He loves to go into Vanishing Mist and then try to get a quick little ice lance off. That's his bread and butter. It's funny. He posted a toxicologist guide on his channel, and then one of the top comments there is like, so basically, to be good with toxicologists, you have to be good at frost. And it's somewhat true. And someone like Kamsky, he has that pinpoint accuracy, especially first shot accuracy. He's going to be looking to land a lot of these ice licenses, even mid close range. He's still looking to land it. But again, over to Delicious Wet Fish, same area, same angle. But again, no action here. So a little bit slow on these side of things, but this is still a beautiful position. I don't see him moving away from this. He looks like he's pretty content to just hole up here and see if anyone's going to try to invade.
Yeah, and I think to that point about like being good at Tox, being good at Frost, like I'm probably going to show my age a little bit here, but it's that shoddy sniper, Halo game mode. It's a good coverage. You have that up close damage, you have that long range damage. Whether you're a Frostborn or a toxicologist, that pairing just goes so well together, undeniably so. But we're going to be looking at indubitably nasty down here on the end of the map. But 19 players left alive. Next got his elimination, his exile onto Noace, and I actually saw in the kill feed a bit ago that Darkbreakers was taken down as well. I forget who it was too, but Rezwu gets eliminated by Wonderful, but still a handful of players left in this one as they're going to be trying to find their positions. We do have a tracking build, which is, you like to see a little bit of tracking come out. It's a little bit of a cheat, a more expensive talent you got to spend for in such an important slot of the mind. But we're moving over to Chap. Chap, we haven't seen a ton of today. He's going to be playing that Frostborn class, has the offhand fire, and unfortunately he's going to get tagged there as well. Next gets an exile onto Noace. If I didn't already, spit that one out, but he does have the harmony here on Chap. He can have that for the potential alacrity, so he doesn't get frozen, but he doesn't have a good necklace, man. That always got to hurt, being in the last 18 people, not having some solid mana to work with. So we do see Gigabyte is going to take an exile onto Gay Pineapple, so Gigabyte pushing himself a little bit further in this game as well, keeping the consistency, keeping his points high. So we'll see how the last remaining 17 players decide to play this one out.
Yeah, man. Chap finding all sorts of action out here. He's got the long range game going on, and now he has this person to contend with. He's got to be feeling a little bit of the pressure coming in here. The zone is going to be closing, but that might not be the most important thing to worry about right now. He is somehow dodging all these fireballs while not even looking at the guy. But, I'll take it. And, he'll take it too. He'll try to find any bit of advantage he can. He's actually rocking Frostborn, maybe proc a Tundra, but it's not going to be enough. Wonderful with a pretty good engagement right there. I'm going to lose a little bit of shield off of it, but look at that. 4 exiles on EU servers. He's doing pretty good. Now, you're going to see in the kill feed here, Next picking up a nice exile onto Cozy. And like we were saying earlier, with Next in particular, he tends to be a little bit slow on the NA side of things, but once he's on his home server, he loves to go aggressive. He loves to pop off. And this is where he really needs to do it. He had that one okay game on NA, to really just trying to get sort of a baseline of score going on. But this is where he really shines. And hopefully you'll see that come out here. But so far, Delicious Wet Fish still in the Stone Tooth Mountain area. Like I said, he's planted his roots. He's found out where he wants to be. This is where he's going to lay down, his foundation. He's going to build his house. He's going to really camp out quite nice. But unfortunately, as I say that, actually going to opt to go into Avant-Garde. So we'll see how the scenery changes. Meanwhile, we got Armin over here, someone who I would have expected to do just a little bit better earlier on, but that's a beautiful counter from his opponent there, getting a quick little fire onto the Vanishing Mist, but now he might be getting blown up right here. We'll see how it ends up, but for right now, just going to live by the skin of his teeth. 80 health to work with, but his opponent has more than double the health. Quick little information tag coming out, but so far, it looks like he's doing okay. There's yet another opponent coming out. Looks like wind spam, and this might just be the end for our man Armand. It looks like he's lasting quite a bit longer than I would have thought, but he's still keeping it going. He's still trying to keep it going. Never mind, Kamsky's here. He's gone.
Yeah, a little bit of back-to-back toxicologist v toxicologist fight there. Kamsky's going to be finding himself on the winning side of that. That's going to be his first exile of the game. A little bit of a little slower pace, but he's keeping himself consistent, finds himself towards the end game as well, and he does have a lot of scrolls, so those talents are going to be just about full effectiveness, at least the ones that matter the most, really, because scavenging, definitely a solid heal, but not going to matter too much during that mid-combat. But he's got that nice rune, cooldown reduction. It's going to be looking for a snipe here. He does see that player, not going to connect with that one, but 10 players left alive besides himself. Kamsky going to be looking to position toward this high side. We'll see if he can find some tags. Doesn't land any of that corrosion, but we do see some Stone Shaper action coming out. Potentially, he's going to be looking to third-party this fight, or he might just take it a little bit slow. But regardless, going to see if he can get some damage in, because that gives you all that information you're looking for. Oh, look at that! Gigabyte goes down. Kamsky said, "You know what? I've missed enough shots today. Let me go ahead and land this one when it matters."
Can we talk about how Kamsky is missing these relatively easier shots, and then he just suddenly lands one on the descent of Spring Step? Are you kidding me, man? Make up your mind. But now he has a little bit of room to go ahead and get a quick reset off. Boulder's going to be coming in. I wonder who this is. But in any case, we might find out here. The kill feed is hot and ready. As Delicious Wet Fish down, that is Brimer down. We still have Wonderful here to play with, so we'll see how it goes. Outbreak going to try to come out, and now we have a quick little opening for a Frost, and that's it! That's next! Kamsky is over here in enemy territory on the EU side of things. 4 exiles, much like game 1, waiting until the late game to show up, but man, does he show up in a big way.
Wow, that is absolutely ridiculous play coming out from Kamsky. He was taking it slow, and that's what I said. Maybe that's just the play style of Kamsky in solos. Taking it slow, doing what he has to do, finds his good positioning, and then just steps on the gas when it's time. 3 insane snipes. Lands that damage, is maneuvering. It's the mobility, and that's players will sometimes come to me and say how do I get better at Spellbreak? And one thing I tell them is hey, don't focus about the damage output as much. Focus on your positioning, your mobility, and that free-flowing aspect of Spellbreak that's so important. We see Kamsky kind of hanging out in the bush right now. Formidable decision there. Josh is going to do the same, apparently. We're just keeping it nice and comfy, but 6 players total, so we're going to see how they decide to move around. Josh just got his first exile of the game.
Oh, hi, Wonderful.
You got to be kidding me, dude. Everybody's just taking it slow. But look at this. We only have a couple of zones left. There's really not a strong reason to hard engage on someone unless you're Wonderful. Getting that free Shockwave is going to be looking to chase up some of this damage, but a Shockwave is going to be sent out in return. Wonderful just barely dodging the second. And again, this is that situation where it's is it worth it to just hard push this, OSK?
As of right now, we saw something similar with Gigabyte and Darkbreakers in game number 3, and I'm going to say the answer is no. You want to kind of hang back. You want to see if you can get any sort of damage that can't be returned, and I don't think that Wonderful is in the best position to do that. He's up against another Stone Shaper, it looks like, or at least someone with Stone, so if anything, he's going to be trading, and then you have 4 other people to worry about, so this might be a point in time where Wonderful says, I have my 6 exiles, I don't want to go out early. That's a Fortitude being knocked off, by the way, the immune. Check the bush. Check the bush. He's in there. I promise. He's in the bush, but nothing going to come out of that. And there's a quick little snipe going out from just in front of him there. I think, yeah, there we go. Get lined up with the firewall. Now you'll be protected, but for right now. I mean, this is a point in time where Wonderful needs to just take a step back and just try to land any long range that he can. It's a little bit difficult with this current build, but it's kind of the advantage of having a Frost or a Lightning on deck. But here we go. We have a bit of combo potential off the Stone Shaper. Let's see if he's going to follow this up. The trade needs to be worth it. The trade needs to be worth it, Wonderful. And now just one more midair Frost. There you go. We've instantly made it worth it. This is a 1v1 situation now. Going to prevent the reset from his opponent. The Thirsty going to be working overtime. This might be, it's not Kamsky. I believe that this is Lil Hustle. He's coming out here, but he's has so low health. And that's going to be Wonderful, taking game number 4 with 8 exiles. What a game for him.
Yeah, the Stone Shapers are out to play today. And I was going to say, during all that action, we saw a situation where Wonderful, he was committed. He was locked in, right? Like he knew he was going to go after that kill. He landed some big damage combos with the Boulder and the Fireball follow-up. And on the other side of that small zone was all the fighting with Lil Hustle, Kamsky, and whichever other player was left alive at some point. And Lil Hustle, comes out on top, grabbed himself a couple double exiles, gets himself in second position. So that's definitely going to be Lil Hustle's best game of the day. We haven't seen a ton of him coming out just yet, but another toxicologist in the community that's looking to make a name for himself. So Lil Hustle finds himself some exiles, gets himself in that second place.
Ooh. Hey, there we go. That's the secret passcode. We figured it out.
Yeah, but no, Lil Hustle putting himself on the board in a big way, as far as his points go. I'm not exactly sure where he was scored, but that's definitely going to be a pretty big performance for him.
Yeah, and again, speaking of scores, I'm going to say it every game until you guys figure it out. It's exclamation Discord. Go in the bot commands channel, type in exclamation scores. It'll get you a quick update there. And real quick, we kind of missed off on this point after halftime, but I wanted to just bring it up here. This is completely community ran. Of course, we have Dr. Nut and Strofo right behind, but there's plenty of other people behind the desk as well, making this all possible. Beautiful graphics team as well. If you want to get in on the action here and you want to help provide us just a little bit towards those prize pools, you can go ahead and donate here. 70% of your donation is going straight to prize pools, and then 30% going to all this production around us. I mean, look at this. We got the HoloLens in the background. We got our little overlights. We got this beautiful emblem right here. The Element Solos Cash Cup with a little snowflake. It's so cute. Plus, you get your name up in lights. I mean, it's a pretty great time, honestly.
Yeah, pretty great time. You know the deal. But hey, game number 4 is down, which means that at this point, you're either locking in your performances or you're looking to kick some out. We got 4 games out of 6 that are going to be scored.
I thought you were going to say something else.
I don't know. I was going to say.
Kick some what? No, kick some out.
Yeah. They got to kick out the performance.
Yeah. What are we rated? Is it G, PG? I forgot.
I don't know. You drink your water. Drink your water. No, but yeah. So we're going to be moving into game number 5 again. We are going to be on the EU region, and I mean, what do we talk about? Do we talk about the Kamsky snipes? Like, what do we do, man? Because that 0 to 100 real quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, well, 0 to 100. I mean, you're talking about Kamsky's playstyle here, apparently in game number 4, but Wonderful, someone I actually am very surprised to see come out on top with 8 exiles. I mean, he's been kind of like a low key player that we see in scrims, doesn't really have that big of a standout performance, but man, when he's on, he's on. And I think the way he was playing, playing a little bit careful with 6 total people remaining in that last little storm, he knows that he can't really full engage too much. He has to be very careful, but as soon as he lands just a little bit of advantage, he puts his opponent on the back foot. That's when he really knows to step on the gas. I think that's something that he does very well. That's something that Darkbreakers does very well. It's something that Next does very well. Really, all these contestants really kind of know the flow of the game at this point. And Wonderful just really showing he's got that knowledge too. And, this one opponent he was chasing at the very, very end, saw that he was on the back foot, 2 quick midair fireballs to then engage on the trade. It's lucky for him that he didn't get third party given the amount of players that were alive, but it's like all the lucky that they can get. That one little exile led to a 1v1, and then he's just there to clean it all up. It was a very fortunate situation for him and a very good game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just to throw it out there, I mean, Lil Hustle, I'm trying to pay attention to the scores a little bit. We'll have to see where he lands. But I want to say if he wasn't in top 15 already, that could be the difference. And that's what I'm talking about. It takes this is a qualifier, and obviously, being in first place would be great. Being in top five would be great because that means that you're performing well. You can kind of build a scenario for yourself about how well you'll do if you do make it into the finals. Like if you can keep yourself on the high end, then that means you're performing well. But as long as you can make it in that top 15, that's what anybody in today's qualifier should be looking to do. If you can pad yourself, guarantee yourself in. Darkbreakers, for example, got taken out a little bit early in this one, but we've already said we guarantee his his qualifying spot. He's definitely going to make it in there. That's great. But, for some of these other players that are really just trying to climb over each other, it's one death, one game can be the difference. And we have, a couple more to go. So definitely some of these players on the low end side are going to be playing, they might be playing a little bit more safe to have one solid game where they make it to endgame. Or if you're sitting in bottom's place right now, you might be looking to fly around the map. It all just depends. It depends on what region you're from as well. So a couple of these players, a handful of these players definitely have some decisions and play style moves that they need to make. But we're going to be moving into game number 5. We just got that confirmation. Any second we'll be jumping in and we'll see what we have. The last 2 games of the day.
I would say if you're looking at the scores right now and you see kind of that top 7, it really is quite a distance between them and spot number 15. Unless everyone gets 400 points this game, I can't really see anything changing all that much between like some of these players getting in. There has to be some breakout performances by some of our players here. Now, this is the first game that we dropped into that we don't have immediate exiles off the drop, so we're going to get the first one served up right here. That's a belt, though. This is going to be a little bit difficult, but Kyojin, he just watched the new episode. He's ready to get some engagements, but his opponent, a little bit less so. We'll see what skin this is. I believe that this outfit is the Warlock skin. This might be Merlin that he's up against. We'll get a confirmation of that as soon as we can. Looks like the dash will come off a cooldown, though. A little bit of lag coming out, unfortunately. But, he's going to just roll with it. And it's exactly what you need to do. Meanwhile, in the kill feed, we're going to have Cozy taking out Icy Pigs. So that will be a nice, quick engagement. Hopefully, Cozy can pad the scores just a little bit. But we see a little bit of decision-making coming out from Kyojin. Do I want the long range? Do I want the Dragonfire? I believe that's a purple rarity left on the ground. And that is a Epic Toxic. An Epic Toxic going to be left behind. Interesting choice given the damage output that he's going to be looking for. That's another, oh my goodness. This is a really, really preferred playstyle we're seeing coming out from Kyojin. Got to be thinking about the value that you're picking up there. But, maybe he knows something that we don't. Meanwhile, we're switching on over to Brimer onto the Stonetooth Mountain region. Unfortunately, not going to catch this person to the right of his screen. There we go. There's the afterglow. And he's going to be flying in. Here comes the rain of the boulder. We'll see how it pays off.
Yeah, we'll see how it pays off. No damage has landed just yet. The shockwave is going to go down in favor of Brimer. The enemy player keeping himself off the ground. We do have a couple Stone Shapers, it looks like. So we'll see if he can keep this advantage. He's going to go ahead and cancel that flight. Not going to be able to connect with that one, but just trying to change up his movement a little bit. And now he's on the back foot. The shockwave coming back toward Brimer's direction. We'll have to see if he's able to get himself away from this one. It looks like they might just nod their heads at each other. You say, this ain't worth it. We need to go ahead and loot up and see what we can do. But one thing I was going to say is that Cozy and Icy Pigs, they've been sharing a drop spot. I was paying attention to a little dialogue in the chat a little bit ago, and they've just been kind of going back and forth. Unfortunately for Icy Pigs, looks like Cozy might be getting the best of that one, but Darkbreakers finds himself in exile on the kill feed. We're going to be moving over toward No Ace again, consistently playing this build, and this one's been impressing me, not because the build's like super unique or anything, but just because he stuck to something that he found for himself. He's decided to lean into this build. He likes to play the Frost offhand, and he's still keeping that Pyromancer in the meta. So No Ace, I don't know why. I don't know why I feel like I'm giving him a little bit more props or just for playing it. We haven't seen a ton of Pyromancers performing super well, so maybe that's going to be what I'm feeling here. But it looks like he's going to be stepping in towards this third party. Darkbreakers gets himself a kill in the kill feed. Rezwu still going to be in this one. It looks like Big Zets is going to go down, unfortunately. So we haven't seen a ton out of him in this qualifier, but now No Ace looking for that third party again, keeping himself on the outside. You don't want to be the player that's getting pinched, and he doesn't have the most health in the world. He's got a nice floaty little gauntlet there, though.
Yeah, I was about to say he doesn't have the most health. He also doesn't have a hand. So, I mean, that's definitely going to put a hamper on things here. I want to see what happens if he tries to draw his bow back, if there's going to be some sort of disconnect there, literally. But in any case, I guess we'll never find out. He's not going to do it for us. But one thing I wanted to comment on about his new build here, now that I think about it, this is just the result of him going to scrims. This is the result of him. Oh, look, the no hand drink. You love to see it. But anyway, this is the result of him, trying out the waters, putting his toe in, seeing how his normal strategies work. He's been known for running this focus mana fervor and then recovery build of really it was a hallmark of the last patch. But now that he's had the time to really feel out the competition here, he's been in a lot of scrims. He always shows up to them. And this is kind of the adjustment that he's making with the current meta. He notices that there's a lot of stuns coming out, that there is a lot of there are a lot of flash freezes coming out as well. So this is kind of his answer, and it looks like it's working out pretty well for him. You can check the scores. I believe he's on the higher side of things. But for right now, in a bit of engagement here, beautiful spot out with the firewall, quick little ignite action going on. And he's going to follow this all the way down. Not going to land the aerial highlight reel snipe, but he does still have the advantage up here. Beautiful switch on over to the high ground. Beautiful angle. He's going to be looking for the second snipe here, and this might be it. Oh, the quick little float off the sorcery. Beautiful stuff from the opponent here. We do have a bit of a doubling of the health situation going on between these two. So we'll see how it pays off for both of them right here. He's doing a great job of tracking down his opponent. There's nowhere for him to go. This is one shot away. And this, yeah, it looks like this is going to be it. The combust going to come out, getting that extra little bit. Ayo James TV, not going to get the better end of that. This is going to be No Ace TV. Apparently, the better CBR going to win out on today.
Yeah, unfortunately, AO James not going to be able to kind of get away from him. And one thing that No Ace is clearly trying to do, and I was going to say it's going to hurt when you have no scrolls leaving one behind, but it looks like he's just trying to make sure that he's safe here, right? You know, he doesn't have any shields whatsoever, but he wanted to come back for this mind scroll. Again, I think it's important to know the strength of these scrolls and how, you know, how much of a profound difference it makes when you're max scrolls versus no scrolls. So he's kind of hanging out here on the edge. He's going to have to find himself somewhere to loot, because, you know, despite the fact that he got that one exile, he does not have a great trajectory for a win. So now he gets to come salvage maybe this loot off of his enemy, off of AO James, and you know, hopefully that's going to be profitable for him. That said, we're going to be moving over to Cozy. Cozy going to have himself what I believe is one exile. There it goes. Yeah, one exile on the board, rocking his standard build. We're going to see if he's able to push into this fight and see if he can find anything else in this one. Next has himself some exiles on the kill feed as well. I don't know how to say that name. Kyojin? Am I doing all right there?
You got it right the first time. Kyojin's good. So,
yeah, Kyojin gets himself an exile as well, and we'll see what can happen. So Darkbreaker's still going to be alive in this one, kind of keeping that score consistent, keeping it high if he can, and Cozy just looking for that third party. You know, he doesn't want to full engage here per se. Wonderful going to find an exile onto Lash Out. It does look like Cozy's starting to move in, and we'll see what he can do. Actually getting nice damage, and that gives him a lot of information now, because he definitely has the health advantage. So just trying to track his target. You can see he's chasing after that invis. Still seeing that target. The enemy does come in now, though. Is this going to be a player with Harmony? Doesn't look like it is, but Cozy not landing some of these shots. This is such an awkward fight. They're just back-to-back right on top of each other. Cozy now going to look to disengage that player, uses his spring step, and just gets a little bit of space. Man, that's such a discombobulating kind of a situation to be in. Looks like Kyojin finds himself an exile onto Flying Pie as well, and Cozy's just, you know what, that was weird, let me just go ahead and back up, play a little bit slow. Does have the knowledge potion in hand as well. We'll see what he decides to do.
Yep, and that's going to be the cleanup. This is what you get for making the fight awkward. It's what you get for making the Spellbreak experience not the best it can be. Oh my goodness, he just needs one. He just needs literally 10 damage, and this guy is gone. There we go, 17 going to come out. This is wonderful. Going to get the payback for making that fight so awkward there. And what Wonderful did a really good job of is just constantly staying on the vertical side of this, on Cozy's field of view there. It's very difficult to rotate your mouse or rotate the sticks for that matter, to really, you know, switch around, find your target, acquire it, and then shoot. It's just one of the more difficult things in this game, or really any game in general. So good job of him. Maybe it was unintentional, maybe it was intentional. I know it's a strategy that a few of these players like to run, but it's just kind of the way it crumbles there. Cozy, though, really spotting out the mistake there, getting the free outbreak, and then the rest is history. So that's going to be a good little pickup for him. It's the second one of the game there. We're going to switch on over to Armand, though. Hasn't found one yet, but looking to get one right now. Going to track the Shadow Step. Beautiful stuff of reading that. And now we have a flash freeze still in the pocket of Armand here. We'll see if he's going to end up using it, but this is a quick little trade of Toxic. This is literally a standing and slapping match. Okay, no Cloud apparently. Weird, but there we go. Safamia, a little bit of shenanigans going on there with the Vanishing Mist, but he is going to come out on the better part of that. Going to thank his lucky stars on that one. Going to get the quick, large Safeguard potion up, and he's going to be ready to fight for this next round here. This is a big zone, though. It will be closing pretty quickly. This is zone number, I believe, rotation number 3 with 10 seconds to go. So I believe he'll have quite the ground to cover, but at least he is alive still to make the trek.
Yeah, what an interesting fight that was. You know, let's that cloud aside. I was gonna say this reminds me of like my school days whenever like two kids would randomly like decide. I don't know if this is anybody's even gonna know what the hell I'm talking about, but like two kids decide to slap box each other. They literally just slap each other until one person gives up. So it's like they're just literally like spinning around in circles in the middle of that courtyard. They're just slapping at each other. But Armin's gonna be rotating around. He's he's chilling, taking his time, and he's got himself some pretty solid loot. So we'll see what he can do. Puts himself his first kill on the board here in game number 5. And Armin, another one of those players that, probably haven't seen the best performances out of. So this could be a pretty big game for him as we do see that kill feed light up with Kamsky finding an exile onto Raikota, another player, same kind of situation. Don't really know where they're sitting, but No Ace finds a big exile onto Cozy. So Cozy's going to go down, but now we're jumping over to Kamsky. Kamsky landed some of those snipes. We saw it in that last game. We'll see if he can do it again.
This is a third-party situation here for sure. It looks like, yep, Rezwu's going to steal that one right out onto Kyojin there. Now, Kamsky, I believe that this might be Armin right here, getting the back foot here. I was about to call it out, but it looks like Kamsky just going to spot it before I can. And this is kind of where the wedge was on the previous zone. It's where a lot of players like to hang out. It's one of the more nuanced sides of Spellbreak. It's kind of more player behavior than anything. This is where most of the action is going to be. Players like to rotate into this wedge, and then you have the ambushers that are ready to go. Joshua looking like on the, in the zone. You have no health, buddy. That's going to be the end of that. But hopefully his opponent gets a quick little screenshot. Kamsky, though, going to screenshot the Armin fight there. It looks like a third party into the Brimer engagement. But still, Kamsky going to land on top of that one. Now we're going to see if that dash is going to pay off here. The lower cooldown might be worth it, but at the same time, his opponent looks like definitely has a beat on it here. Has the higher ground, but he knows where he is for right now. Knows he might be a little bit safe to take that. Unfortunately, not going to get the F key onto that epic tox that we saw, but it's going to be okay still. It's not the biggest value thing from a rare to an epic rarity, but min-maxing, something I like to see. We're going to see him rotate into this next zone, though. Wants to make sure that he doesn't lose any health off of it. Going to run into a bit of an engagement here, I do believe, though. Yep, I'm going to catch this guy out. Going to get a quick little corrosion tick, and we'll see where it develops from here. But he has a beautiful angle for this Frost Gauntlet if he chooses to use it, especially over the top of this mountain. I do believe he's thinking about it. He really wants this angle. We'll see if it pays off for him. The Vanishing Mist going to get blown up, though. This might be a little bit dangerous for him. Going to play it a little safe. And still looking for that angle, but not really going to utilize it here. Gonna have to back up a little bit.
Yeah, and that's the danger with the reclouding. It was a good position to use it in. Definitely, whenever have that Tox versus Tox fight. It looks like somebody that came in with that Fire Gauntlet, maybe Pyromancer, maybe No Ace even, just kind of shows up and kind of showing some of the counterplay around the Toxicologist Cloud. Now that Fortitude does get knocked off Kamsky, they're just in a back and forth Corrosion battle. And Corrosion, we know the strength of it, dealing so much damage on those shields, but also giving you a lot of information. Now Kamsky, he pulls off a move. And listen, I've actually named this, and I don't think it matters too much. Well, first of all, he's going to be sitting in the bush. But one thing that he did, and I think it's so important to note that he did this, was when you're in a situation on one side of the zone where there's just so much congestion, he does what I like to call splitting the difference, where he just bolts right down the center of the zone, which you would think is kind of risky, and it definitely is, but he finds himself in a bit more of a comfortable position. That said, still just so many players left alive in this one, OSK, 9 players left alive in total. This Thirsty's definitely, giving him the benefit that he needs. So he gets that full reset, hanging out inside the house. It's almost dead center of the zone here, still looking for that Corrosion battle. Kamsky gonna go ahead and jump through that window, might actually find himself back inside the bush, and look at this. He's trying to freeze these. They're getting exploded, doing everything they can to shut down that mobility, and you see back-to-back fights. K-Pineapples is going to unfortunately take out himself, and Rezwu catches himself in an awkward cloud that happens to get blown up. So Kamsky is going to get himself at least a little bit of potions there, finds himself a reset. He is going to be jumping inside the face of the Keymaster, finds one shot, lands the second. Yes, Eldegold is going to go down, but again, back-to-back fights constantly. Kamsky looking up in the sky, and it looks like Lil Hustle's still alive in this one, as Insomniac Panda is going to go down.
Yeah, unfortunate for Insomniac Panda. Seems to always find himself on the wrong end of a Fireball or a Frost. Just unfortunate, but getting back over to Kamsky. Okay, going to take advantage of this quick little Dragonfire Dragonfire situation here. Gonna have to get a quick reset off. This is very, very dangerous territory for him. Big potion being picked up here. Hopefully he'll be able to make it worth it. Gonna get, oh, this is perfect timing here, but gonna re-enter. Okay, gonna re-enter there, gonna get the quick retime off of the big potion. I was gonna say that with that thirsty talent, this is the perfect duration for that heal, given the duration of the invisibility that comes out. But I do have to commend Lil Hustle over here. This is the second time he's found himself in the end game of the EU side of things. So this is very, very impressive from a guy that I didn't even really know about. Finds the bush hider. That's Gigabyte, because of course it is. And now we have Lil Hustle versus Kamsky. Who's going to come out on top of here? We have Xbox versus PC. We have Toxicologist versus Toxicologist. Here's the boxing match. But there's the quick little slow, not really the freeze right now. Going to get the quick recloud going on. Has just one more second off of the Shadow Step. This might be a snipe duel. Has to be very careful here. One more shot. That'll do it. One more, and that's Kamsky. Going to be coming up the top here. I believe that's 5 exiles total, but a very, very nice placement from Lil Hustle as well.
Yeah, Lil Hustle definitely back-to-back games, really starting to step up his performance. And, the Tox v Tox fight is so interesting. It's all about like their own cooldowns and like trying to force, you're obviously not going to blow anything up when they're running that similar build, with the frost offhand. So it's all about like, can I force the cloud first? Maybe my cloud can like out time his cloud so we can re-cloud like kind of past each other. And then if you happen to see the other person, you might be able to get that outbreak out. So it's a really, really interesting fight. I actually think that one thing that happened in the middle of it was when they created a little bit of distance. I think Kamsky got a nice mini snipe off. Like it wasn't a huge amount of damage, but still just kind of putting a little bit more of that pressure out. I mean, even something like, again, I always get to like watch it back a little bit. They just cloud on top of each other. They're looking for those reclouds. One flash freeze goes out. It's all about just kind of like playing the cooldowns of the enemy player. So Lil Hustle falls a little bit short there. Kamsky is going to take the game, but still, a solid performance coming out from him. You have to imagine that he's pushing himself in a pretty comfortable position in this qualifier.
Yeah, very, very comfortable indeed. It was already comfortable, and now it's just even more stacked on top of that. I mean, you gotta be kidding me, man. But in any case, I believe that that's the adjustment made by Kamsky there to pick up the dash instead of a shadow step. We talk about this a little bit between ourselves a little bit, but that dash gives you just that lower cooldown that you're looking for to kind of compensate for a bit of the weakness of shadow step. You use a shadow step, you're off a cooldown for about 6 seconds if you're running runic, and then if you have a dash, that's cut down to about 4.5 off the base, and then with runic cuts it down even more. So he has so much more mobility to make plays like this while you're sacrificing damage for outbreak. It's a debate whether it's worth it or not, but for Kamsky, I mean, if you're able to master that movement the way that he has, and you're able to just negate the outbreak outright, I mean, you're going to find yourself in a good spot there. And that's really something to be said about Kamsky too, because he came into that fight at a very, very heavy disadvantage, but still managed to turn that around. So it's just these little things you got to take into account between your movement advantage. Even if your health isn't all the way there, you can still make that up with a little bit of outplay potential.
Yeah, and I think speaking on the toxicologists with dash versus shadow step, there's definitely like some playstyle variance, a little bit of subjectivity there, because one is going to have undeniably more burst potential, where the other one has more mobility. So you could say like, oh well, I think like at a face value, you could look at it and say like, oh, well, if you run dash, you lose damage. Well, more mobility means better positioning, better potential to stay alive, which means more damage. So there's definitely a little bit of room to make an argument for which one is better. I don't actually think it matters. I mean, we see someone like Trey come out with dash ecologist all the time and puts it to great use. So, really comes down to the player themselves. Cozy, someone that leans, I think, a little bit more into shadow step himself. So it's always fun to see how that fight can play out. And you have to imagine that had he did land like double outbreaks, that could have completely turned the fight. So there's lots of opportunity there, but it is definitely fun to watch the players work with their individual builds in there. And you never know, it might just be something that they had too, right? You never know. Maybe he never found a shadow step that was high enough rarity for him to want to lean into. But dash, definitely something that you see a lot with runic, like you said, that lower cooldown. Even with shadow step, being able to lower that cooldown a little bit is super, super useful.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to see for game number 6. We were talking about how some of these players really need to step it up to get into the top 15. And especially I'm looking at the scores right now. Type in exclamations Discord and then get into the bot commands, type in exclamation scores to get an update on that. But let's see. It looks like place number 15 is very, very contested right now. There's only a few points really separating between let's say spot number 11 and then all the way down to about spot number 16. So there's still quite a bit of fight to be had over there. So we'll see who can really get that cream of the crop that'll rise to the top. But for right now, I'm going to jump into game number 6. My friend Crashy is drowning in a little bit of pixels, but he's back. Old Dentist over here going to find a quick little pickup on some good loot. And my friend, how was it there in the land of pixels? How's that Google Glass treating you?
I've made it back to the other end. I've seen the other side, and let me tell you, everybody but Kamsky was over there. No, but in any case, we do have Cozy finds a quick kill onto Chap. Now, that's the first time I think I've seen them fight off spawn, so unfortunately, Chap not going to have himself a long game number 6, but we are going to be watching Josh, still playing that Stone Shaper, leans into his build, still pretty comfortable with it, and he likes to run that Runic Fervor setup, which is kind of like the old Stone Shaper build, I want to call it. I mean, I guess you kind of call it that. When Fervor was 2 cost, you saw a lot of Runic Fervor coming out, but has shifted around a little bit. You see a little bit more Focus Mana Fervor, Runic Dexterity coming out, kind of popularized a little bit by Megaverse for that high flying mobility, but Josh is still rocking it on this comfortable build. Next falls early to Darkbreaker, so that one, I'm not sure exactly where Next is at, but that one might hurt a little bit. Darkbreaker's, again, hasn't had the best last couple of games. I want to say we haven't really seen him, or at least the last game he got taken out a little bit. We'll see what can go on. So Josh, he's going to go ahead and kind of give this spot up. Says, you know what? Not really worth risking my final game. Let me just see if I can find some loot.
Yeah, we're going to be circling around here, just trying to find any sort of higher rarity they can find. Nice knowledge potion going to be popped already. He's going to be ready with those boulders on deck here, but yeah, nothing really much going on here in the early game. I mean, I say that, and the kill feed's being filled up quite frequently, so that is something to be said here. Megan says hello, is now going to say goodbye to Flying Pie. They're going to be out of the lobby, and Joshua just trying to find any kind of belt he wants, really. I mean, this is the last little piece of the puzzle. You can talk about boots, you can talk about amulets, but that extra little bit of armor, that extra bit of sustain is huge in this type of meta that we're currently in, and it is just the one last piece remaining of that Millennium puzzle. But we'll see if we can jump on over to maybe just some more action, see if anything's going on. For right now, there's a Frost being passed up, there's the Fervor, there's a little bit of Escapist going to be procced here. And here we go. Here's our boy Armin here. And quick little shout out to Armin as well. Donated $100 to the cause, to Elements. So it's $70 going all the way to prize pools, and that's 30% going towards our production value. So thank you again, Armin. It's been a little bit of a rough day for him, but hopefully he'll be able to improve it here in game number 6. Meanwhile, we got Merlin over here trying to get a little bit of combust going on. And we'll see how he plays this one out. Playing a little bit back, wants to be a little bit more methodical with his approach. But here we go. This might be, big Dragonfire tornado damage coming in. This is the moment. This is Firefly coming out. He has the dash off a cooldown. Needs to find his opponent, though. It looks like he lost him. Oh my goodness. This is a big blunder on Merlin's part. Now his opponent might be getting the reset off. Oh my goodness. He's listening for any audio cues to see if he can listen for any shields, any potions going up. But if he misses out on this, that would be a huge missed opportunity.
Yeah, unfortunately, the flame wall got put in a really weird position, but you don't see a DF land, like a DF NATO land, all the time, especially whenever it's not even intended. So lots of damage coming out from Merlin. That'll definitely help out a little bit, as he's able to get some points, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to chase that player. That flight rune, that's the thing. When you're running focus mana and you have a dash, you have some pretty decent mobility, but it's going to be really, really hard to chase after someone with that flight rune. So player is going to go ahead and get away. And we do have some kills going down in the kill feed, but 29 players left alive, and Merlin's going to have to see if he can find himself at least a comfortable place to find some loot, to find some shields. But look at this. Darkbreaker is going to be running the 2-3-1 Toxicologist, changing it up, moving over to one of his other builds, and Delicious Wet Fish back-to-back kills is going to kill Cactus Country and No Ace.
Yeah, a bot and then someone less of a bot. But in any case, Delicious Wet Fish feeling pretty good with those 2 exiles there. And also in the kill feed earlier, we did see 2 exiles come out from Wonderful. He got one on the Troll Distance there, you can see at the top, and then there was one more before that I don't remember. But in any case, it's 2 exiles for him at least. We're also seeing Cozy pick up a little bit more action here. And now we're going to get on to Big Zets here. Looks like being tagged a little bit by this lightning, but the Epic Belt's going to serve him really well. Trying to garden out a little bit of toxic damage, a little bit of corrosion, but he's having a bit of a rough time at it here. The stun's going to be coming out, though, and he's not running Harmony. This could be a big transition into, oh, it's another Vanishing Mist. I wonder where it went. It doesn't matter, though. Closing up the distance here. Big damage coming out, and you know, if he can land this one little bit, trying to garden out, but the feather fall, lightning, he's backing up. It's not what you want to do. This is one more lightning bolt away from getting out of this lobby. So dangerous to take it the way he is, out of the zone as well. Oh my goodness, dangerous game he's playing. But for right now, it seems he's gotten away with it. See if the Fortitude has time to come back up. But for right now, Cozy going to quickly clean up this. It looks like the frost, and that's the end of AO James. Beautiful aim onto Cozy there, getting that quick little frost, and that's the exact angle you want to find, you know? Find someone who's coming out of that floating animation off the levitate, get them on the way down. That's going to be an easy pickup 9 times out of 10. Now a little bit of gardening action. Going to quickly activate the Mana Vault, get a quick little angle, and try to land a few snipes.
Yeah, Cozy going to be moving into this like third-party position, kind of catches the end of it, but really just going to be locking down this Mana Vault for himself. So, you know, or not necessarily third-party position, but just kind of chasing off the player, I guess I should say. He finished off AO James. We do have Joshua going to be taking down Armin, and Raikota actually still in this one, gets a kill onto one Cheeto. So we'll have to see what Brimer can do now as we've swapped over. We have some Stone Shapers in this one, man. They're out here looking to brawl. You do see, again, Raikota finds that Exiles. We had swapped our positions, but Brimer not in the best position, you know, for those shockwaves to land, but he is going to land some of those boulders, lands that, followed it up, and then now there's just third party. Oh no, you hate to see it, but maybe, who knows, maybe that'll trick the opponent. You'll throw him off a little bit, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Brimer gets a little bit of healing, a very tiny bit of healing coming out from recovery, thanks to recovery. Going to be, you know, ticking up over 12 seconds, so it's not very much healing, smaller percentage now, but also no scrolls in there. Darkbreakers is going to take out Raikota. Eldegold is going to go down to the hands of Kamsky, so this one's getting a little bit hot and heavy. The zone is starting to pull everybody closer to each other, and they're getting a little bit forced to take some action. We'll see what Brimer can do. Still so many players left in this area. I wanted to see him maybe pop some of those health potions there, but it's really just kind of self-preservation time. So he's not going to land that shockwave, unfortunately, just a little bit off there, and that's another fire tornado. Look at that. Again, I've talked about the strength of these tornado buffs have definitely added a little bit of damage, some sorcery combinations that have some potentials. Brimer's just going to sit himself in this corner and see if he can get this reset off.
There we go. Now we're getting the priorities in order. I was wondering why he was taking those engagements whenever he has so much health to make up, but now he's finally gotten it straight here. He finally is getting that little bit of sustain up here. He wants to find space to make his recovery work for him a little bit if you're going to choose it. So this is the part where he turns it around right here. He has the third-party potential coming out, trying to find this one lone person who's out here who doesn't have flight, but now going to get spotted out by what looks like either a fireball user or a pyromancer. Let's see how he ends up in this sort of engagement here. Beautiful mid-air shot, though. Going to get the quick advantage off the shield. Going to take the high ground as well. But they both are running the stone fire setup, so they're going to have to play on similar levels of play. What he wants to do is take up this high ground and then let his either boulders or fireballs rain from above. It looks like his opponent has a spring step, though, so they're able to lengthen that distance, make it so much harder for him. Now Brimer just has nowhere to go. Let's see if he gets into a close range engagement in that castle, but for right now, that loot's looking nice and shiny. Wants to get a little bit of Epic Belt going on, maybe a little bit of scroll, reading for that focus mana, or maybe not. Going to play it safe for now. Going to turn back. A little bit of indecisive. We'll see what he ends up with. For right now, a little hustle. Going to just, you know, take a little third-person peek, make sure that no one's really coming at him. He sees a little bit of engagement going on, though. Wants to catch his opponent. Oh, beautiful. Exactly how Cozy's doing. It's exactly what you want to do. Take him out of the floating animation of levitate and get him on the way down. Beautiful stuff coming out from Lil Hustle, realizing that. And now we have maybe a little bit of gardening going on, but for right now, just going to play it safe and back up.
Yeah, and Lil Hustle, you know, obviously we can tell he's had a little bit of a slow game this one, but, you know, 15 players left alive. This is the third time we'll have seen Lil Hustle get closer and closer to that end game. So that might just be the strategy for this one. You know, this is not really going to be the kind of play that will get you a win in a final situation. But right now, again, the whole point is to qualify through this qualifier. So Lil Hustle taking it slow, getting himself toward that end game, and he's building that point consistency, that game that he can find for himself. And I got to say, you know, it's maybe not a play style that's something that he can carry into the finals, like I said, but getting himself there is what matters most right now. So Lil Hustle has had himself 2 amazing games, looking to repeat that here with the third. Brymer finds himself a kill. Darkbreak flying pie out. Doesn't he swap over to Delicious Wet Fish, getting himself caught in a bit of damage with that tornado, but he's going to be rocking the Pyromancer with offhand wind himself. A 2-3-1 build, so lots of mobility potentially. I mean, he does have that recklessness, so that's more of kind of an engagement tool used for low health. Not going to land that fireball just yet, but he's brawling with this player out here on the edge of the zone, and we still have 14 players left alive, and Delicious Wet Fish actually has himself 4 exiles, so he's going to carve himself out a nice little spot. Might be actually looking to chase out of it, but Cozy going to find himself the exile onto Brymer, wherever he landed out, wherever he ended up, unfortunately got a little bit of Cozy aggro, but this is looking like a third party. We've got some gardening over here from the north, player down here to the south. Delicious Wet Fish is forced to make some action happen. Look at that, DF NATO is going to land, not necessarily intended, but it looks like so much focus is coming towards Delicious Wet Fish, trying to use as much mobility as he can. You even see some of that spreading sickness going to be coming out. We're going to see if Delicious Wet Fish is able to get himself out of that situation. No, he's not. Darkbreakers comes out with a big exile. The outbreak damage is too much, and back-to-back kills. Kyrie in the kill feed, Gay Pineapples, and Kamsky as well, as we cut down to our final 9 players.
Yeah, and we're going to get over to Darkbreakers over here, trying to find just a little bit more of this damage. We'll have to see if he can find it here. Trying to find the angle first, and now we can land just a little bit of damage out here, trying to garden a little bit, get that information of the position of his opponents. This is actually a beautiful spreading sickness. It gives him a long-range AoE that he can go along with the movement from Vanishing Mist. You know, something that I haven't really seen Darkbreakers do a whole lot of is play Toxicologist, but it looks like he's been putting it in practice, and exactly what you want to do here. Unfortunately, going to get the quick backwards movement here, going to re-enter or not here. Going to think about that one just a little bit, but now trying to find a better angle. Okay, Pineapples though still alive here, top 10 finisher. We're going to see how he ends up placing. But for right now, trying to find the lower end of this castle here in the basement, trying to find any opponent that he can see here. It looks like they might be well hidden. Actually, over the top here, going to get gardened out just a little bit. The corrosion might be ticking up, but we'll see how Gay Pineapples does. Getting a little bit of trouble getting through this window. But for right now, it's a bit of a weird close range engagement here. And he definitely needs to find the space to really make his stone worth it right now. And all he really can work with is this fire. So, you know, well, let's see how this ends up. But so far, nothing doing. That zone going to be closing in for 10 seconds. So he will have to find his escape out of this eventually. And we'll see how he goes about it. 5 seconds till that zone closes. It's going to be a big rotation for our 8 remaining players.
Yeah, you got to be careful because it's funny, you made mention of him having a little bit of a tough time with that window. It's that dexterity, you know, you get that extra jump height, so you got to have to kind of like time it and jump it at an angle. But look at this enemy player right in front of him. Is he going to land it? Yes, he does. The firewall taking off the immunity from Fortitude lands directly into an ignited shockwave. So really nice mechanical play coming out from Pineapples here. Is out here on the edge with a couple other players, and this is a very tiny final circle cutting down to the last 8 remaining. Gabe Pineapples, he does take such a big storm tick though, so he's gonna have to see if he can find a position. He is hanging out here on the edge, and this is still the last little remaining spot that he can sit at. He does have this player right in front of him. Will he be able to land some damage? Does have the boulders, not gonna connect with anything just yet. Did land at least a bit of damage with that fire. We do see players are starting to cut down. Kyrie, Caitlin finds one Kamsky as well. Kyrie actually finding a couple of kills. She has that Frost Gauntlet, I believe, or actually, yeah, so she might be spell slinging potentially. So we'll see what Kyrie can do as Gabe Pineapples is doing everything in his power just to stay alive. The Dragon Fire does come out. Gabe Pineapple's going to fall at the hands of Cozy. I believe that was just maybe a pairing of gauntlets there, a pairing of people landing some damage with their results out of the hands of Darkbreakers. The last 4 players left alive. We're going to be jumping on with Cozy. I believe Camden's still going to be alive as well. 3 Toxicologists here in the endgame. I'm not sure who that final 4th player might be. I believe Kyrie was taken out, unfortunately. So we'll see. We do have Cozy playing the high ground here. He's going to be looking to float around, doing the best that he can. We'll see a small reset potentially. Look, no focus on Cozy. He'll be able to take his time. see what he can do. And he actually does have that. He is going to be playing this kind of like inverted Dragonfire. I just now noticed it. Not going to have that in the pocket, that Frost Gauntlet in the pocket. He sees a couple players now. It does look like Joshua was taking out Darkbreaker, so Darkbreakers goes down to the hands of the final remaining Stone Shaper, and this is a tough zone for Josh.
Oh,
because
no.
He does have that big building, that big rocket side of the Cozy going to take some damage there. He does step his way back in. Is he going to be able to stay alive? Buys himself a little bit of time behind this flame wall. That Tox Cloud coming out maybe from Kamsky, not going to connect just yet. Cozy's still staying alive again. It's going to be Kamsky coming down and against Josh. If Cozy can stay alive any longer, no, he won't. So Josh versus Kamsky, the last remaining 1v1. Lots of mobility coming out. I'm surprised Josh is doing so well in this zone. That's going to be hard for him to stay alive in. There's just not a lot of room for the shockwaves, but he's maneuvering so very well. The last two players left, you know, Kamsky is out here somewhere. A shot coming out from somewhere. I have no idea where this man is, but the damage is landing onto Josh. He's trying to do what he can. Lands a little bit of some damage, some Dragonfire coming out. He's going to be able to pop that. Yes, he does land the boulder, but it looks like Kamsky just has such an advantage here. He's trying to close the gap. Josh is at the top of the height. He lands the fireball, but no, Kamsky lands the final shot. It was such an awkward position for Josh to be in. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Versus the three other players that he was in, I really didn't expect him to get that second place, and that's not based on skill, just based on the terrain alone. So Josh really sticking in there, doing what he can to continue his run, and he was able to get some damage, finds himself in that second place finish.
He was one shot off, literally one, and starting from about 60 or 70 health and then whittling down Kamsky all that much is not an easy thing at all to do. So very, very commendable effort from Joshua. But again, Kamsky is going to come out on top in that particular game. So a great job coming out from him. And yeah, it's just the name of the game, you know. It's just a chaotic final circle. Joshua not really finding all that room to really get those resources back up to snuff. And although he does put up a really, really big effort, just not enough to really finish it out. It was an uphill battle from the start. Almost got to the top, but not quite. But that's going to be the end of game number 6. A quick reminder that only 4 of the best games. I see you over there playing with your pixels. But for right now, only the best 4 games that these contestants had will be counted for their final scores, and we're going to be getting those over here very shortly for you guys. But that's going to conclude our Element Solos Cash Cup. Crashy, great stuff coming out from these contestants, and really commendable effort all around.
Yeah, the Stone Shapers were here to play. The Toxicologists were here to play. We had some Pyromancers sticking it in there, and then Kyrie making it to the very end with the Tempest. I'm assuming it was Tempest. I've never seen Kyrie play anything with Tempest, so probably spell slinging a little bit is what I would guess. But yeah, some solid performances. We had some people showing up with some little hustle, you know, putting up a couple or a few good games toward the end. I definitely think that he'll probably make it in, I'm assuming, and we'll have to see, or you'll have to check out. We'll get you guys the top 5 scores, but if you want to see the total 15, make sure that you jump into the Discord, you get in that channel, and I really don't know what it is. This is a script for OSK. How do you find the scores, OSK?
Listen close, everybody watching. Okay, if you want to find the scores, you want to type in !Discord, and then you want to go into the bot commands channel and type in !scores. All right. I will say it again, !Discord in the chat, and then !scores in the bot commands channel. It's a very easy process, and you'll get everything that's updated with our new and improved automated screenshot capture system, courtesy of Marla bot. And actually, Next did quite a bit of work on that bot. So big congratulations and big thank you to him for really putting in the effort and getting that our way. And also a great effort today in the competition. You know, he's finishing in all likelihood in our qualifying top 15. But again, that announcement is going to be made here shortly in the Discord itself. So if you want to find out who's going to be in the final next week, if you want to find out also on this trio side of things, we're going to be having that updated as well. Hop in that Discord, look for the announcement. It'll come out shortly after this event, I'm sure. But for right now, we're going to be preparing those scores. And yeah, it was a very, very close event, honestly, between the top 3 especially, and then top 15, that 15th spot. Oh my goodness. If you could look at it right now, it looks like it's literally top 15 and top 16 are separated by 2 points. And that's not the first time that's happened either. So
yeah, it was a very tight qualifier, at least in terms of making it into the finals. Now I'm going to do something that I don't normally do, but I saw someone in chat, and I'm going to call you out. Awesome Dawson, I want to see you in the Element Discord. I want to see you in some scrims, maybe catch you into one of these qualifiers. So thanks for showing some interest, at least, just asking in the chat, like, hey, can anybody play in these? Because, yeah, that's what it's all about. It's about the community. It's about getting people involved. So definitely, Dawson, make sure you jump into the Discord and get involved. So we'd love to have you. We appreciate everybody coming out, of course, always, all the back end work that we do, any support that we get. But anybody that's jumping into the community, whether it's Spellbreak community or the Element community, definitely do appreciate it, because that's what we all love. That's why we're all here. We're all sharing this common interest, so we love to see it. So shout out to everybody that competed today. Everybody that was in the qualifier. Lots of action going on. We got to see a bunch of different perspectives, a bunch of different fun stuff coming out. So yeah, shout out to everybody involved, whether it be Element community, Element production side, and everybody involved in the chat, the viewers and the players as well. So.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and just let y'all know that we are quickly preparing those top 5 placements for you guys. It was again a very very close, very close first and second place, and then the rest of the top 5 will be shown your way here very quick. But let's go over some of the strategies we saw. I mean, obviously we have Kyrie, who might have been the lone Tempest coming out. I expected to see a little bit more of that, but we're seeing a lot of toxicologists still in the meta today. I don't know if it's more of the comfort thing or if it's just all the mobility that the class offers along with that increased damage. There is a debate to be had there, but we're seeing a bit of Pyromancer still kicking out here. Lots of Stone Shaper finishing out towards our top placements. Didn't see a whole lot of Frostborn either. So these sort of brawling classes, these dueling classes that we're seeing, really, really doing a good job of showing up. Saw a little bit of Conduit from Gigabyte, but not nearly as much as I would have thought. So that is something to be said here.
Yeah, for sure. We're getting those last little final touches on the top 5. I'm watching it. I'm watching it get typed in right now. I'm giving you guys the secret hints on how it all goes down, and we'll be unveiling that. But again, shout out to everybody that played in today's qualifier. The top 15 will be moving on to the finals, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing a finals. It's been a minute. We haven't had a finals event in quite some time, but we still have some more stuff in the works. Some future events coming out. So definitely make sure that you guys are all ready and involved. Looking forward to that. But OSK, did I just hear something? What did I hear, OSK?
I don't know what's going on your ghosty side of Pixelland, but we have the top 5 finishers all ready to be pulled up for qualifier number 2. So let's get it up on screen, and you can see who did the best here. Kamsky barely edging out SKT Dark B. That's the Darkbreaker's full name. We got a score of 1265 compared to 1236. Again, this is the culmination of their top 4 games out of the total 6 that they played. So this is a very, very close argument between who is the better solo player today. Y'all can have that debate in the chat. But our bottom 3 here are going to be No Ace showing up on that new and improved build that he has on the Harmony Fervor, with Pyromancer taking 1,700 or 1,077 points. Cozy slightly behind, 982, with Wonderful 882. So a clean 100 separating those two.
Yeah, clean 100, but the bottom of the leaderboard, around that 15, 16 place wasn't so clean. It was very, very close. So shout out to anybody that made it into the finals. But as always, I appreciate everybody for coming out. Some closing thoughts. Had a fun time. Enjoy the qualifier. Love being here. And big shout outs to everybody involved, whether it be the viewers, the players, the production side. It's always a good time.
Yeah, always a good time as well. Another big thank you to our production squad. We have Dr. Nut behind the full production. Then we have Strofo, an extra observer. Always nice to bring you the action there. Makes our job nice and easy. And of course, thanks to everyone in the Element staff to really bring all these beautiful graphics. It is a community thing run on purely their effort. And of course, a little bit of donation if you'd like to give to Element. Get your name up in lights down here on the scroller right in the middle there. 70% of your donation goes directly towards prize pools. It's going to go directly towards that $500 that we have prepared for you next week. And then 30% will go directly to these wonderful sites we can put on right around us. So thanks again, guys. Make sure you follow Element on all the socials. And I believe our next stream event is going to be on Wednesday. That'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our scrim. So make sure you don't miss that. We're going to go ahead and sign off. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we will catch you later on this week.